Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. So basically what he's saying in a nutshell, it's Major League Baseball's fault. It's not the pitcher's fault. Shame on you for letting that happen. Basically.
For letting your balls get dusty?
Balls get dusty, yeah.
You just have to play with your balls frequent enough so that they don't get dusty.
Exactly.
They let everyone's balls get dusty. That was the problem.
They need somebody to play with the balls prior to every pitch to get them undusted. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, October the 27th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete. Say hello, Mr. RadioPete.
Hello, Mr. RadioPete. Well, I made it back just in time.
Made it back just in time.
Did you notice my chair was empty?
I did. You missed the intro, though.
I know. What was it?
It was a good one. You'll have to catch it later.
All right, I'll listen to it on the replay.
There you go.
Did I make the joke or did Harry make the joke? Or was it you?
It was all three of us.
Oh, all right.
It was
nice.
a three-way.
Equal opportunity.
Equal opportunity
Very
joke.
Nice. Very nice.
So how are you tonight?
You know what? I have some big news.
Do you?
I do. After I guess about a year and a half because of COVID.
Sure.
And probably another 16 years because of general malaise. I am going back to the gym.
Going back to the gym.
Yeah.
There you go.
I've been to the gym twice in the past. What day is it today?
Today is Wednesday.
4 days. Twice in the past 4 days.
Twice in the past 4 days. 50% of the time you're going to the gym.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I get tired of freezing my account for another 3 months, which is a very nice feature, by the way. Put in a plug for Planet Fitness. I understand they're looking for lesser-known sports podcasts to sponsor.
They are.
It's just a rumor that I heard. And but we have been members for a while, and it's a nice place. It's really great. But they, because of COVID, they would allow you to put the freeze on your membership for 90 days.
Right.
And then they wouldn't charge you.
Right.
And then we'd always forget about it, and then we'd get the email, or be paying the bills, and it'd see the Planet Fitness dues. And I'd be like, "Oh man, we're reactivated." And then we just send in another form.
Send another form, right?
Yeah, to freeze it for another 3 months. But finally, I got tired of it, and I said, "You know what? I'm just gonna start going back to the gym." So,
right. Well, we were going to the gym, and we've been going all along. And at the pandemic, we stopped because the gym obviously had to close,
right?
And they put a freeze on, everybody's, right? But and then when they were coming back to reopen again, I won't say the name of the gym because I'm not that kind of guy. But when they came back, when they opened back up again, they sent everybody a warning, if you will.
Right.
If you're not comfortable, let us know. Click here, go to this website, blah 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 blah, and tell us that you're not coming back just yet. And we'll put a hold on it, right? So we did that. We weren't comfortable. We're not coming back. So, and a month later, that was September. In October, we got charged our monthly fee. So I called up and I said, "Hey, I clicked the link and I said we're not coming back right now. Please freeze our account." She goes, "Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll put paperwork through to refund that money and I'll freeze your account now." I'm like, "All right, fine." November rolls around. We get charged again, and we get charged the annual fee. On
not
top
just
of
the monthly,
not just the monthly, the annual fee. So,
see, that's
yeah.
Why would they have that in the first place?
So I call up, right? I know. So I call up and obviously complain again, and hold on, let me get you this guy, and he says, "Oh, you got to go to corporate," and then you call corporate, and corporate says you got to talk to the people there. Long story short, they ran me around for about 3 months, never got my money back, quit the gym.
Yeah, nice.
So it's out.
But you don't want to mention the name.
I don't want to mention the name. It's a local
Right.
place.
Gotcha.
I didn't hear they did it anybody else, and I'm furious because it was like $150 out of my pocket. But
Yeah.
No, yeah, for nothing, you know. And then the other thing too was, I mean, it's the annual fee, right? It's for a whole year. So normally, if you pay the annual fee and then you quit like a month later, you get prorated money back, right?
You
I didn't
would
even get
think
that.
so. Wow.
Nothing. They just kept it all
Well,
back.
why did they charge you an annual fee and then a monthly fee?
It's an annual. It's the I don't know. That was the contract. So I mean, it's not a lot of money, but it's both of us. So it's like, you know, it's $10 and change a month. And then it was like $60 each, or just shy of $60 each for the annual fee.
I wonder if I pay a yearly fee. I don't think so.
I don't know, but yeah, it really pissed me off. So what are you gonna do?
So now you find a new gym.
Find a gym,
or when you feel comfortable.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So
You
I
can
mean, we
find
go
out.
out, we run, we walk,
Yeah.
bike.
Well, that's the thing. See,
It's getting colder now, so obviously we're not going to do that as often anyway. But
I gotta say, because I've been going with my my sister because we've been walking,
mm-hmm.
you know, for the past several months. I hate walking.
They,
Even with my sister to talk to, it's just the worst exercise there is. I know it's real good for you, and it's what I should be doing a lot of because I'm a big fat piece of crap who's getting old and has bad knees, and you know, walking is the right exercise for me. But I just hate it. I just hate it.
So you got to get into some form of a rhythm. Pick a couple of places to go to that. You know, you actually don't mind the sights while you're walking, whatever they may be. You know,
that's nowhere on Long Island. Without getting in a car and driving like to a park somewhere or something. And even then,
you could walk to Northport, you know, from your you know. I
well,
mean,
the walk there is nice downhill, but coming back
up, not so much.
Coming back,
so walk down there and then Uber back. That's all.
Well, yeah, that's it. See, plus when you walk down there and you'd be like, oh, maybe I'll go to the grilled cheese restaurant while I'm here. I deserve it. I walked all the way down here.
Exactly.
Get me some meatballs.
Well, I can't go to Northport without going to Beer Cheese. So.
Yeah, that's so. But yeah, so it's good. And I discovered that I now enjoy quite the. They have the old 30-minute workout room.
There you go.
Where they have like whatever 9 or 10 machines, and then they have a red light and a green light, and the red light is 30 seconds, and the green light, the red light is on top, and the green light is a minute. So what you do is you get yourself set. The green light goes on. You do the machine for 60 seconds, and then the red light goes on. You stop. You get up. Go over to the other machine, get ready. Green light goes on, so you do everything for a minute,
right?
And then you go around and you do all the things. And they have like little steppers so that you can step up and down in between, so you don't cool down. Yeah, like that's a problem for me. Like 30 seconds of inactivity, it doesn't cool me down.
You're gonna cool down too much, and you just can't continue.
Oh yeah. So, so I discovered I was always intimidated by that because I wasn't quite sure how it worked. Well, you know, it worked, and you know.
Right.
But now I've discovered I actually like it. What I like to do actually, though, is I work out during the red, and then I use the green. Now you laugh, but there's a caveat coming at the end, and you'll understand.
Right.
Because now you got to wipe everything down.
Right.
So getting off the machine, wiping it down, adjusting my pants, having a drink of water, whatever, takes more than getting into the other machine. And also I got to figure out how much weight to put on it.
Right.
Because you got to do it. When I was doing it with the green, you have to, whatever the exercise is, you got to do it, you know, like there's a thing where you pull down and then there's curls and there's a leg press. You got to do it for a minute. Well, I don't know how much weight to put on there, you know, and I don't want to just go with the lightest one because that seems so easy. So I'm trying to figure out, well, that takes too long. And then it's like, oh, the green light. And I'm like, well, I'm not ready. So now I work out during the red light, which is 30 seconds. And then I have 60 seconds
to get all
wipe
that stuff
down and prepare and get ready.
There you go.
Now, that's only half the workout you go, you fat bastard. You're cheating. But I do everything twice.
There you go.
So there we go.
So you go around twice instead of once.
So I go around twice. Now it takes roughly twice as long, but you know.
Roughly.
Still, for me, it works out because I'm ready to go and I've got everything adjusted and, you know. Plus, I know I'm getting to know how much weight to put on, at least for right now.
So it's going to
First couple of times I was like, I had to stop and pull the pin and reset it a couple of times because it was too much or too little. So
that makes sense. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I enjoy the little 30-minute circuit room now.
Very nice. Yes. And you go in there, it's your room for those 30 minutes kind of thing?
Well, no, anybody can be in there, but There's, I think my sister and I were like the only people there. There was one other person there.
Got you.
It had this woman had like a water bottle like this big.
Right.
It was like a foot and a half tall.
She brought like one of those 5-gallon containers with her.
It was. There had to be like if you sat and like at a table with a straw, like it would look comical. That's how big it was.
Jeez.
It was huge.
It's like one of those yard of beer. You have it on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Just big, fat, blue. Like that is a way more, like you couldn't drink that much.
Some people do.
Not in a 30-minute workout, you get water poisoning.
Oh no, you can't do it in 30 minutes, but like over the course of the whole workout and then before and after or whatever. So.
Yeah, like she was sitting on the. They have a thing. I don't like this one. I always do the the other. This is another ab cruncher. This one is the one where it has like the floaty straps that hang down.
Right.
And you grab them and then you do like that. I don't like that one.
No.
She was sitting on that. And then she went to take a drink, and she went like this. That's how big the bottle.
She had a straw coming out.
So. She just kind of leaned over a little bit, and like.
Well, that's why she has it.
I think it's why.
That's why, because then she could do that in every
any exercise. She's sitting down. She doesn't have to get up to take a drink.
Perfect. There you go.
But yeah, so that's So we'll see.
Beautiful.
We'll see how long it lasts. But
Like
I'm enjoying.
My favorite exercise is, a can of beer, and just curls. Yeah.
Yes, the 12-ounce curl.
The 12-ounce curls. Well, 16 now. Most cans are 16-ounce cans.
But I went today and I rode the bike, which is good. Had a nice, I think about a 6-mile ride.
There you go.
Pumping along.
Very nice. Very nice.
So there we go.
All right.
I feel like I added 2 days to my life.
You definitely did.
That's
do that every other day. If you do it every day, you'll live forever, right?
Well, I mean, with all the stuff, how they calculate, every cigarette you smoke takes, 2 days off your life or 14 hours off your life, or if you eat too much chocolate or whatever, or this or that, they have these calculations, how much it shortens your lifespan.
Right.
So I'm probably down like 7 or 8 years. So I got to try and get some of that back. You got to
get some of that back. Absolutely. Yeah.
So if I go every day for the next 8 years, I should get back to where I would have, let's say, normally died without all the vices.
Right. Yeah. I got you. And you could just stop. Because you say, that was where I would be normally.
Right. So, but I go, well, I was slated for 78 and I'm back to 78. So
done.
Yeah.
Done.
There you go. Let it go with that.
Let it go there. But hypothetically speaking, if that actually did work, you work every day, you work out, it adds a day to your life. But just work out every day, and you'll never, you'll live forever. So.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
So. I won't be able to walk the way my knees feel. I think I'm going to be slated for replacement surgery one of these days.
I hear you. I definitely hear you. That's for sure.
Anyway, so that's the big news.
There you go. My knees are nearing that direction as well. So, and oddly enough, when we took this picture, we never thought that we'd have to worry about our knees at that point.
No.
We weren't worried about that then.
Yeah, that was what's scary about that.
Yeah.
That version of me is the thin version.
Hold on. This version of you is the thin version.
Yeah.
Well, this version of me is a thin version too. So,
yeah. But you have not put on nearly as much weight as I have in the ensuing 20 years since that picture was taken.
Yeah. Both of us have a little bit more gray hair than we did at the time. So.
Yeah, and a whole face full of it.
One of these days, I got to dig out the picture of you actually sleeping on the pizza boxes at 5 a.m. on the conference table in the conference room. So.
But, I'd like to include that with any resumes I send out.
Absolutely. That's definitely a good picture.
Am I dedicated? So, I do what's needed
to
get the job done. And if that includes sleeping on a conference table with a pizza box pillow, then I'll do it.
Then you'll do it. Exactly.
I'll do
it. Anyway. So, all right. Well, we've if you haven't noticed, Pete and I are vamping a little bit because Harry is not here. If you didn't pick up on that. You did not hear the luscious tones of Harry's voice yet if you're listening to the audio podcast, or obviously see him on this. But he will be along in probably within the next 20, 25 minutes. He had a meeting tonight, big Denver City Planning Board meeting. It was a big week out there.
Yeah, I heard they're opening up a brewery or something.
Something like that. They're opening one today, 2 tomorrow, 1 on Friday, 6 on Saturday. It just
So there's a lot of planning.
There's a lot of planning going on. So anyway, but
look at that. It's 1-1 in the bottom of the second already.
1-1 in the bottom of the second. I meant to keep an eye on that.
I saw Houston had gotten a run, and now we'll see how Mr. Fried. See if it's Max Fried or Max Fried. It was Max Fried his last start,
right?
But game 1 of the was it the NLCS? I think he pitched game 1.
Yes,
that was Fried.
That was Fried. Yeah,
he was really good. So
his first start in the NLCS was for Fried.
Yeah,
his second start he was fried.
Yeah, he was kind of fried.
A little fried,
but
hopefully.
Yeah. So all right. So we'll talk a little baseball, I guess, to get things going because the Yankees are out of it. So there's no reason to have Harry say anything.
Yeah, there's nothing needs to be said on that. So yeah, I mean the Braves won convincingly last night, 6-2.
Yeah,
and just like that, took home field advantage back from the Astros. Do you know the Astros, as of right now, have lost their last 5 home World Series games?
Is that true?
Well, they lost all 4 of them 2 years ago to the Nationals.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they beat the Nationals all 3 in Washington though as well.
Right.
So nobody won at home 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
And they won last night. So the Astros lost their last 5 home World Series games. So see what they do
let's
tonight.
hope it's 6 today.
Exactly.
Because now let me ask you this, because now where were we last week? Nothing had been quite decided yet, right?
Nothing was decided
coming up
yet.
to game 6 and 7s.
There was a game 5 and a game 6 last. So there was things were decided on Friday and Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I of course was convinced that the Dodgers were going to win no matter what because they're the Dodgers and
right.
So I have to. I mean, obviously being a Met fan, no real love for Atlanta, although they haven't really been the Atlanta of old, right? They haven't been dominating the division.
They're not dominating the division. They didn't have John Rocker. They didn't have Chipper Jones. They didn't, none of those
they're
Met
not
killers.
The same team that we hated as Met fans for all those years.
Plus there's a little, little story line with d'Arnaud, right? Travis d'Arnaud.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm happy for him though.
I
shouldn't feel that way, should I? But
I could say I'm happy for him. I'm not necessarily happy for the Braves, but I'm happy for him.
I think
he just always seemed to be getting, it wasn't the right situation, as is most Mets.
How many times have we heard that it's not the right situation? And then,
exactly, and then they go to another team and do well.
And now he's in the goddamn World Series. I'm happier for the Braves as a whole than I am for Travis d'Arnaud, and I shouldn't be. Right. I shouldn't have anything against him, but
no.
I don't know. I do. I feel like it was his fault. He sucked with the Mets.
I don't know. I mean, Kevin
it's not rational, I admit, but
Kevin Plawecki was in the ALCS, with the Red Sox.
Yeah, but he's not in the World Series now.
There was a lot of without Justin Turner winning the World Series last year, and in the NLCS this year.
Yeah, but he was a Dodger, so I had plenty of reasons to hate him.
Yeah, I mean for many years now, it wasn't like
I was happy for Flores though.
Yeah, I was happy for Wilmer Flores.
Yeah.
Giants are easier to take than the Dodgers or the Braves as a Mets fan. But yeah, I don't have any disdain for the Braves, and I'm just kind of over the Astros at this point.
Yeah, I mean at this point I'm definitely up to 2-1 Houston now.
There you go.
I wonder if there's going to be like an 8-7 game. Yeah, at this point I think just for variety's sake, I would say I'm rooting for the Braves.
Right. And it's also, maybe it's a kick in the ass to the Mets, too, because 2 years ago the Nationals won, and then if the Braves win, it's this year's the Braves.
Yeah.
We can't even talk about the Marlins, but forget about it. But the Marlins have won 2 World Series since the last time the Mets won a World Series.
Yeah, that's true.
Granted, the Mets have been to a World Series in between both of those Marlins World Series and then won 6 years ago, but and win them,
Yeah.
They would have won. I still say they would have won 15 years ago if it wasn't for Adam Wainwright and Carlos Beltran, but
yeah,
we won't get there. But in any event,
Yeah, I don't want to think about that now.
I don't either. But
it's probably.
And then the Phillies were in two back to back. Obviously, won, and then lost to the Yankees in 2009.
Yeah, but that was a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
I have issues with championships that involved not teams I hate that are not my favorite team's natural, divisional rivals.
Sure.
Like Patriots, Giants.
Right.
That was a tough one to figure out who I wanted to root for.
Right.
Because I hate them both.
I got you. But why do you hate the Giants, though? What is the reason you hate the Giants?
Because my dad
Mm-hmm.
raised me up that it was a cardinal rule that if you were a fan of one team from a city
Mm-hmm.
or a state,
right,
you could not root for the other team.
Gotcha.
Or other teams. And in fact, they are the enemy, whether they are in your division or not, which they usually are.
Right.
So Jets, Giants, Jets, Bills,
right,
Jets, Patriots, Jets, Dolphins. Everyone is an enemy. One is different kinds of enemies, but same thing. Yankees, Mets. You can't be a fan of both.
No, you know what?
And that's just the
way
I was raised. It's not rational. It's taken me a long time to even kind of temper some of that to where I still root against, but don't have a visceral hatred for certain teams. Like I always say, I hate them. I hate them. I don't really hate the Yankees. I want to see them lose.
Right.
I haven't gotten over that part of it.
Sure.
But that's just, and when you're a kid, right? Who's your hero is your dad, right?
Exactly.
I mean, although he was a Yankee fan, I became a Met fan, but he was a Jet fan, so I became a Jet fan. And,
sure.
And that was his credo.
Right.
Or his creed? His credo. I don't know. Some word that starts with creed.
His Apollo credo.
Yeah, his Apollo credo. And so that was ingrained in me from the age of like 4 or 5 years old.
Sure.
And like I said, it's taken me a long time to even temper it enough to where I am not an active hater, but I still want to see these teams lose. So when those situations come up,
gotcha.
Now here you could say, well, the Astros, you should be rooting for the Astros because the Braves are a much more hated rival, and the Astros have nothing to do with New York or not, but the Astros are just a punk ass bunch of punks who cheated.
Right.
And it's very, very easy to not like.
Right.
And I am finding myself also, I mean, look, the Braves beat the Dodgers, so who I don't know why I hate them anymore. They're a team I definitely fairly actively hate.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I'm rooting for the Braves.
I hear you. Yeah, I am. I am as well, and pretty much for the same reason. I mean, again, I'm kind of over the Astros. I mean, you want to call it a mini dynasty, being there,
Yeah, they're a good team.
4 out of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They won 1, they lost 2. And
it's not like they dominated for 3 years or won 2 in a row.
No, they won 1 and lost 1.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't. And then we found out, they cheated. They won a couple by cheating.
They won, then they weren't in it. Then they lost in the ALCS to the Red Sox. Then they lost in the World Series to the Nationals, and they lost last year to the Rays in the ALCS. And now they're in it again. So 3 out of 5. So and they're at least to the League Championship Series each of the last 5 years.
If you're getting to the series that if you win it, you go to the championship series
5 years in a row now. So,
and they've won a couple, so it's not like they're the Bills,
right?
Right. Which that was, I mean, a different story. They went to the championship 4 times in a row, but
of course.
Or what was the Eagles, right? The Donovan McNabb Eagles would be right. Didn't they go to the NFC Championship like 3 or 4 years in a row? And
right. Well, they went to the
one Super Bowl.
They got to one Super Bowl, and then another one of the NFC championship games they got to. They shouldn't have been in, and that was just because of the, here I'm making excuses for the Giants again. But that was the year when they lost. The Eagles lost in the championship game because they beat the Giants in the divisional round, and they lost to the Cardinals, and then the Cardinals lost to the Steelers in the Super Bowl. But the Giants should have easily roller skated through that Super Bowl. They
Yeah,
should have
yeah,
won
that
back-to-back
was,
Super Bowls. That was the whole Plaxico shoot himself year, which screwed the Giants up. But they were flying through the season. That was destined to be their best season, even better than '86 at that point. But
that was a pretty disappointing.
Yeah. So,
but my point is that the Astros are pretty good.
Of course,
they've been in the World Series. They've won one. They've been in the championship game at least out of 4 out of the last 5 years, whatever you said.
Right.
So it's not like they're a flash in the pan or they came out of nowhere and won 2 because they were cheating.
Plus,
but they're still unlikable.
Right. And you go back to, the Astros used to be not that long ago in the National League. And as a Mets fan, you didn't like the Astros because they were in the National League, And
well, they usually weren't very good.
But they played the Mets 35 years ago to go to the World Series that they won. So,
yeah. And I guess, I think that I probably, if baseball had done something to them,
right,
besides, suspend.
Shame on you, and suspend the manager and the general manager and
for a year and
a couple other people that were involved.
Then maybe, but they got away with it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's a good reason to. So there we go. But I mean, honestly, if I don't watch any of these games,
right,
I'm not glued to the TV.
Gotcha.
The World Series is almost always must watch. No matter who's in it. This year,
I found myself yesterday going back and forth.
Yeah,
watching it. I watched a little bit. I got a little bored. I clicked off and watched something else for a little while, and boom, went back. Got up and did something else while it was on. That kind of thing. But But I watched it, but I didn't. Yeah, was it
4-1?
4-1. So there you go. 4-1 in the bottom of the second. So Fried isn't Fried. He's fried.
Fried is not. He's fried today.
So it's destined to go. It's destined to go to Atlanta, 1-1.
Yeah.
So at this point, anyway, you never know though. It's only the second inning, so anything can happen. All right. A couple of the notes. By the way, just to echo what you were saying, as far as local teams go, I don't hate any local teams in per se, but I have my favorites. I'm a Giants fan. I'm a Mets fan. I'm a Rangers fan. I'm a Knicks fan. I don't hate the Jets. I don't hate the Yankees. I don't like the Yankees, but I don't hate the Yankees. I don't hate the Nets. I don't hate the Islanders or the Devils, oddly enough. That's for a lot of people, that's like the biggest question. Really? You don't hate the Islanders or the Devils? I don't.
Yeah, hockey seems to have, I would think, sort of fans that are on that sort of same bandwagon with me.
Right.
Real heated rivalries.
Sure. Yeah, it's even worse than it's even worse than the football or baseball or basketball. But basketball's kind of tame. Probably the
basketball,
most.
But with baseball and football, though, they're in different conferences,
leagues.
Different leagues, different whatever. Right. They don't hockey. You got those three teams.
They're in the same
in
division.
The same division, beating each other up for the past 40 years almost.
Sure, exactly.
Right, Devils came to town in the early '80s, I think. Right,
80, 81, 81,
somewhere
82,
around there.
Yeah.
So we're talking 40 years ago that these teams have been, and they've each kind of had their successes. Right.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
So.
And there you go. And lo and behold, guess who's joining us?
Hey!
There he is.
Just in time for hockey. We're talking about the rivalry between.
We got everything done except for hockey. So
hopefully you guys are done, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Just going to make our picks, and then we're out the door.
Jets and Mets talk is over.
Now we
were just talking baseball and
just some other random stuff. I just wanted to bring up a couple of things before we finish up with baseball, and if there's anything that Harry would like to say regarding the World Series, by the way, in case you didn't know it,
4-1.
Obviously it's 4-1. Yeah,
5-1.
So.
It's 5-1.
It's 5-1 now. There you go.
5-1 at the end of 2.
So Fried is fried. So we've established that. So as far as the Mets go, I just wanted to make a point of putting out there that the Brewers GM Matt Arnold withdrew his name from consideration too for the president of baseball operations. He's going to stay GM in Milwaukee. So I add that name to Theo Epstein, David Stearns, and Billy Beane. And what the hell's going on? I mean, here's my question. And I asked Pete before we started. Is it Sandy or is it Steve Cohen? Because if it's Steve Cohen, there's not a whole hell of a lot that the Mets are going to be able to do about that, obviously. But if it's Sandy Alderson, Steve Cohen might want to think about, getting rid of Sandy. So
Well, there's only one of them that's going to go. Steve Cohen's not going anywhere. And I find it hard to believe that people would go, Steve Cohen, I'm not going to go work for him.
I'm not going to go work for the richest owner in baseball.
Yeah, that billionaire who loves baseball. I certainly don't want to do that.
Right, exactly.
So,
it's got to be Sandy. It's got to be Sandy.
Eventually, it's guilt by association, isn't it? Whether anyone is actually feeling that or not, you have to do something to make the job more alluring. I don't know. Maybe they're just not offering a lot of money.
Who knows?
I don't know.
I honestly just think, and I'm sticking to my guns with that, unless something else comes up in the news. But I really believe that it's just nobody wants to take a position of where they really don't have their own voice, because the bottom line is Sandy Alderson's still going to be pulling the strings.
Yeah,
he is.
And look, you could have guys that are saying, well, Steve Cohen is going to be more involved in the mix than I want, but that would really be, either A, an assumption on their part going in,
right,
or B, if they go there and they say, well, I'm the guy who needs to make the decisions.
Right.
And maybe it's both. Maybe it's the fact that Alderson is in the way, number one.
Right.
And you've got people who they're interested in for the job who are going, well, Alderson's in the way, number one. And even if he goes, I'm probably going to have to fight with Steve Cohen, who's going to want to interject, his will, which I don't know why they would say that, because Steve Cohen's never said anything to that effect. In fact, I think he's probably said kind of the opposite.
Are you talking the GM job now, or the
we're talking the baseball
VP of
baseball operations? Yeah,
there's one too many positions in the Mets organization.
Yeah, and then Steve Cohen has to go, and I really believe that I think it's Steve Cohen, Sandy Alderson has to go. Thank you.
Steve Cohen's got to go. He's got to give up ownership.
There you go.
Bring back the Wilpons.
No, Sandy Alderson has to go. And I also believe that it does have something to do with the fact that Steve Cohen has Sandy Alderson in that position because he doesn't know a lot about the business of it, right? Yeah. So he has him there basically, as we said this before, as a security blanket. So the fact that it's a security blanket, he's leaning on him, is almost a guarantee that those strings that Sandy Alderson is going to be pulling are going to be cemented in stone. And what's the point? I think that's what.
Yeah, I also think, in defense of the Mets and the people involved, right, a lot of the people that have said no to this are either A, not interested in moving somewhere else, or B, or both, are happy where they're at. They're with good organizations. And I think there's more people who are staying put and saying, I'd rather be here. The lure of going to, the New York market to have to compete directly with the Yankees and everybody else, and have expectations set even higher, go to one of the most expensive places to live as opposed to Oakland or Milwaukee or anywhere else. I think that has a lot to do with it. And I think relationships. I mean, if you look at where baseball is trending right now, look at the two managers that are in the World Series. All of this talk about analytics and new school baseball. Well, you got two of the most old school guys in the world. The only thing new with Dusty Baker is that he's wearing surgical gloves for some reason during the playoffs. Other than that,
performing surgery.
Yes. Other than that, these guys could care less, and they're both with organizations that obviously have ownership that has consistently made moves to put them in the best place to win, and also ownership that is not afraid to make changes.
Right.
So if you look at the teams that have been the most successful, they're not that stable. They've had different managers. They've had different, personnel. They're constantly making moves that are sometimes not what I think you would typically expect from successful sports organizations. But if you look at the Red Sox, the Braves this year, in years past, the Nationals, obviously the Dodgers and the Giants, there's a lot of movement that goes on, but at the core of it, they stick to their guns about what it is that they want to try to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And they put a product on the field. They go out and get them. And so I think that's what's contagious, is that there's, from a manager's perspective, and even from a front office perspective, the tide has shifted. There are teams that have a culture of being able to give you the best chance to win. I'm not sure the Yankees and the Mets have that culture right now. And in fact, I would say the Mets are probably a mixed bag and could potentially have that. But I just think that there's a lot of other teams that are competing in better places to maybe work.
Yeah, I think you're right. I agree with that.
Yeah,
So,
and anybody who's going to come to the Mets and wants to kind of bring that culture and that attitude with them has got
hurdles.
One in Sandy Alderson and maybe another in Steve Cohen. But again, it's Cohen to me seems like the guy who's going to turn it over to his people because he doesn't know a lot about it and has admitted such. But yeah, they're going to want to come in and do what they want to do, and who's going to feel comfortable doing that or be able to do that with Sandy Alderson in the way?
I agree. All right. One quick aside, really quick. I just wanted to say, I don't know if you saw it. The Cleveland Guardians roller derby team filed a lawsuit suing the Indians for using the name Guardians when they went to trademark it. Apparently, it came out that they registered the name in May. Now, they didn't even announce that they were switching to the Guardians until July. But they registered the name. They trademarked and registered the name in May. So they knew what they were doing, or at least maybe doing a couple of names, whatever. But they registered it in Africa. They internationally trademarked it or something in somewhere in Africa in May to keep it out of the limelight, if you will, in the eyes of the American public or whatever. So
was it already trademarked by
I don't think they had
roller derby or roller hockey. Did you say roller derby or roller hockey?
Roller derby, not
roller hockey is I think we played that in high school.
So is the roller derby team concerned that they're going to have to change their name? They probably won't have to.
Well, no, that's my question. Did they have the trademark here in the
United
States? They didn't
have a trademark. They actually the trademark in the United States that the trademark that whether it was the Africa one or the one in the United States that the Cleveland baseball team, if you will, filed for. 2 days later, the roller derby team filed one because they had heard, so they tried to get it in and they got it in right away. But little did they know the baseball team already had it a couple days before.
I have 2 words for the Cleveland roller derby team. Mm-hmm. Cleveland Steamers.
Steamers, absolutely. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, maybe even better for a roller derby team than a baseball team.
I think you're right. There you go. I don't think they're looking to get their name back. I think they're just looking for
I understand. They're just looking to get some publicity. Now people are saying, oh, there's a roller derby team in Cleveland.
There's a roller derby team in Cleveland, and people that live in Cleveland are saying that. That's the other thing. So anyway, all right. You guys have anything else baseball-wise? Because I got
couple quick things.
I got a segue between baseball and football, so that's why
I just got a couple quick things. Nelson Cruz getting the Roberto Clemente Award, which is a nice thing.
Kudos to Nelson
doing
Cruz.
A lot for his community, and I don't know. Cruz seems like a pretty good guy. He's kind of a dick sometimes, wasn't he? But I can't remember if he had.
Yes, he could have been, yeah, but
great player and great hitter. So
you just have to be nice 55% of the time. You could be a dick up to 45% and still get the award.
45 is the top.
There you go. Well, as long as you, I don't know, do some good for your community, I guess.
There you go.
But good for him. He's been around a long time.
Sure.
Generally liked. Also, don't forget, I guess Taco Bell is doing the free taco with a steal in the World Series thing. So I think tomorrow you can get, because Ozzy Albies had a steal, right?
Ozzy Albies had a steal. So
I think tomorrow you can get your free taco. Let me see here. Base was stolen in a World Series, so you get to steal a free Doritos Locos taco on Thursday, November 4th, all day in store, online, or in the app.
There you go.
There you go. So
with
sign up.
No purchase necessary, or
well, Taco Bell Rewards members receive early access to their free tacos. Sign up for the Taco Bell Rewards to get exclusive offers throughout the World Series. So I don't know if you have to be a rewards member, but you'll get it sooner.
Gotcha.
But
right. So if you want,
I don't know,
Doritos Tacos Loco Taco, Doritos Loco Taco, whatever.
Or you can go support your local Mexican restaurant and not support Taco Bell.
There you go.
Well, but they're not giving away a free taco.
Exactly.
No, but
they're also probably paying their taxes.
There's it's true. there's a place that up in Canada, there's like a burger place called Licks. That is.
It's an ice cream place out here called Lug.
Yeah,
There you
which
go.
is near
It's
where
another
my
place in. Never mind.
where my wife's.
It's a place in Schenectady called Licks. Too.
Yeah, there's a lot of places called
There's
Licks.
no burgers
where
or
COVID
ice cream there.
Where
Well-
COVID started.
There's a different kind of burger at some of those places.
Oh God.
They thought it was China, but it was really Licks in Schenectady, where this.
So,
the bird flu is still rampant there,
so like once a year they give out like a little free slider or something like that.
like a
It's
hockey
called-
puck.
Yeah, the lines out the door to get the free.
So it's
burger.
worth it to
Love
take a
it.
ride up to
Shit.
Connecticut. Connecticut. It's worth it to take
Yeah,
a ride up to Canada.
Toronto. Yeah, up to
Toronto
Toronto
to get your slider.
to get your free slider at Licks,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
again can mean a number of different things. Getting a free
Get
slider
a free
at Licks.
slider at Licks.
Yeah, still less
If you're in
disgusting.
Canada, it means a hamburger. If you're in
Yeah.
Schenectady, it's a little different.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Get your free taco if you want to.
I think you get one of them in Connecticut too, but or Schenectady.
There's definitely no free tacos in Connecticut.
Not at all.
No, I don't think so.
Anyway, all right.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. All right. Harry, you got anything baseball wise?
Nah, fucking Braves. I hate this World Series.
Did I mention Harry? I'm
I
rooting for them.
I hate both teams. I think I am too. I don't know who I'm rooting for. I don't care. I want it to be over.
Yeah, I was telling John
Yeah.
if I don't, see all of this, whatever. It's not must watch TV
No,
for me
it's
this
not.
year.
It's not.
I'll tell you what. I'll give the Braves credit. They're on a heater. They remind me of the Nationals a couple years ago.
Sure.
But you know how I feel. They should,
Well,
should not have had 2 home games to begin that series against the
No.
Dodgers. They
No.
should not have had that, and that changed the whole series.
Sure it did. And this did too. Like we were just talking before you came on. Obviously this game is shaping up tonight to be an Astros win, but at
Maybe.
the
I don't
moment,
know.
maybe we'll see what happens. But
Braves can come back.
this is true.
It's
but-
only the third.
right, at the moment, the Astros have lost their last 5 home World Series games. So
Yeah,
There
they're
you go.
They're just trying to throw us off.
exactly. All right.
They switched to plastic garbage cans, and you can't quite hear
You
them.
can't quite hear them as well. They're a little muted, but they are
Okay.
tuning into them. So there you go.
That's right.
Oh, plus they get scanned for buzzers.
I do have one quick thing, and we don't have to talk about a lot. Has there ever been a stranger sports stadium than that place in Houston that the
No.
Astros play?
No,
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
weird.
it's very
It's
weird.
it's like there was acid involved in the design of that, and I'm not talking the kind that's in a car battery.
It looks
I mean,
like a video game.
It's so
Stadium.
fucking bizarre.
Yeah,
It is.
it looks like a
It's
video
so
game
bizarre.
stadium.
Yeah.
That
It's very
was
weird.
not a.
Yeah,
Actually, I have
Let's
one
put
other.
a train and a storefront window in the back, and then
Yeah, and
I
we'll-
mean, it's,
We'll have these big columns, so it's
Yeah, we'll put
hard
a-
to hit.
what
we'll
happened
put a
was
line.
there was 8 different designers, and they all had to get one of the
Right.
elements that they wanted in it. So they
Right.
came together like that. You know?
It was
it's
weird.
like yeah.
I'd actually have
and,
one
and they
other,
were all on acid, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, I think there's definitely acid
it's
involved.
bizarre.
It is bizarre.
And when you see it from like a player's perspective, when they show, it's
Yeah.
like that's a hard stadium to.
It's
To play
yeah, there's like
It's a
little
hard stadium to
corners
play
where the
in.
ball can go in the outfield and just get lost.
yeah, and then the one section right there was in left field. It's just I think one of us could hit a home run.
It goes from like 260 to like 480
right.
in like 20 feet.
And it makes a left hand
And then
turn
it
too. It's
comes
not at an
back in,
angle. It's
Then it
just,
comes back in.
Right.
And there's a drive-through window, I think, for your free taco.
Right.
And then you go back around, and then I don't know. There's a mall or something back. I have no
Right.
idea what's going on.
Right.
It's the
Yeah.
strangest place on earth.
It kind
Yeah,
of makes like the Marlins Stadium has like those little corner
Right.
cutout things. Like it makes that look tame
Right.
by comparison.
Absolutely.
You don't know where the ball's
Yeah.
gonna go when it gets hit in the outfield out there.
Exactly.
All right, so here's my question.
Mhm.
Do we have to put a shift on for everyone in the lineup? What
Obviously.
the fuck? Come on.
Here's what bothers me more than the shift is that it works all the time because these like if Rod Carew was playing today, he would hit 790.
Yeah, and it's the World Series. Like
Yeah.
we've
does
seen
anybody
this
know how to go
trend.
to the opposite field?
No.
We've seen this trend going on for an entire season now, if not longer.
But you know what?
Like
It-
you would
it just-
think
it's
guys
just
would have
mind-
practiced hitting the other way where they're
It's-
not by
right.
now.
It's mind-boggling because hitters back in the day, and when I say back in the day, we could even go 20 years ago, and before that,
10,
and obviously
15
way
years ago.
before that,
10 years ago.
you know, were able to place the ball most of the time, obviously sometimes not, depending on the pitcher, but they were able to place the ball in different places. Now they have the shift happening and they still hit the ball. It makes no sense whatsoever.
You don't even have to
They've
hit
regressed, and it's like, hey, the shift's on. Okay, I got to hit it to this guy. I know I'm
you
out.
just got to bunt it. You don't even have to hit it that way.
Just slap it past the pitcher, because we know half the pitchers can't catch it anyway.
Yeah.
There was a shift on the other day. They showed it for a brief second. Not only was the entire infield on one side of second base, but the outfield was as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Just wrap one over towards the opposite corner and it's a triple.
Yep.
If you've got it, but it's for everyone now. It seems like
depending on how hard you hit it, how far they are on the other side, and how fast you run, you get inside the park home run with doing that.
Exactly. I don't understand. I mean, I know these are the two best teams in baseball,
right?
Playing for the championship, but not every guy on the team is a 350 hitter during the regular season. What are you shifting for?
Yeah.
Guy's a 268 hitter.
Yeah,
I don't.
You mean they're acting as if everybody was...
They're acting as if everybody's a 350 hitter, yeah.
No, not everyone is. These are guys that hit 270 or whatever, and you're acting like...
Ridiculous.
But they hit that way all year. That's the thing, is that,
Yeah, I guess. I mean...
They all would have been 320 hitters if it wasn't for the shift, I guess. I don't know. Remember the old days?
If they could hit the opposite way, they'd be 380 hitters.
If you could line, those hitters that could always line it up the middle will always be high hitters anymore. Now that either the second baseman or the shortstop's standing on second base.
So. Yeah, he's playing basically a softball.
Short center.
Yeah. All right, that's all I wanted to say. It just seems like it's for everyone.
Right.
It does make
you're shifting for this guy.
It does make double plays interesting sometimes when there's a guy on first and there's the shift on.
Yeah, that's true.
And I also think why aren't stolen bases up with the shift being on? I mean, I especially second to third. The way you stop the shift is by getting a guy on second base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know.
Unless it's a righty.
I'd be interested to see the numbers for stolen bases.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's not like we had back in the heyday where we had great guys who stole, 50, 60 bases every year.
I'm going to guarantee you there were more stolen bases this year than last year.
I want to see the stats on free tacos for stolen bases.
Only because there was 3 times as many games.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
This is true.
Per capita, though.
Yeah.
But I wonder, what is the?
It's down.
Has there been a steady decline over?
Yeah,
it's gone back up a little bit but it's been down for quite a while.
It's gone back up a little bit whenever the Mets are playing and pitching. So that's when it goes back up. That's the incline right there. So
if you're a strikeout or home run type of team, then you're not really worried about getting that guy on second base because you're thinking we're going to bring him in with a dinger.
Right.
So
exactly.
I guess that's it about all I had.
All right. All right, my segue. Here we go. I just want to say happy anniversary, all right, to the New York Mets. 35 years ago, right about now, maybe a little bit later than now, maybe half an hour from now, somewhere in that neighborhood, they won the World Series. It was Game 7, was 35 years ago tonight. They won.
Congratulations.
They won the World Series. Roger McDowell was the winning pitcher because the Red Sox had gotten to Ron Darling started the game. But whatchamacallit, they got to Ron Darling early, so Roger McDowell came in. But New York, the Mets tore it up in 6th, 7th, and 8th inning. But and it was actually the 500th game played in World Series history. That game, Game 7 of the 86 World Series, was the 500th World Series game in history.
Fantastic.
So, and there you go. But kudos and congratulations to the, or happy anniversary, I should say, to the New York Mets. Now, I just wanted to point out one thing, that I actually was not watching that game on TV, nor was I there, obviously, either. And here's my segue. I was actually at the Monday night, because it was a Monday night. The Game 7 was supposed to be on a Sunday night. If you remember, the Saturday game was Game 6 when the ball went through Buckner's legs in Game 6. Sunday night game was supposed to be on the 26th. Got rained out, so it was on Monday the 27th. Monday Night Football, the Giants Redskins game at Giant Stadium.
You know where your loyalties lie.
I was there, but we had radios, portable TVs, everything in our row. We were watching it. We were tuned into the game. In fact,
nobody wants to drive to Queens.
They stopped play on the field at Giant Stadium to announce that the Mets were the World Series champions, and we knew it already anyway because obviously we were watching. Yeah. So. And
then Phil McConkey said maybe we should do that this year.
Phil McConkey said, "You know what? Wouldn't it be cool if we won the Super Bowl this year as well?" So and then they went on and did it. So
McConkey said, "Can somebody lift me up so I could hear what they're saying?"
There you go. But that was for somebody that's a Giants and Mets fan. That was a cool 3 months. The Mets win the World Series.
That was a great year.
Giants win the Super Bowl. So, So I just wanted to say that.
Quick aside to go back to loop back. This is how little stolen bases mean in baseball right now. Mm-hmm. Top 4 teams per game stolen bases: Royals, Padres, Cleveland, and Miami.
Royals, Padres, Cleveland, and Miami, because those are the teams playing small ball.
And that's per game? What's the actual number? Is it over 1?
Nope. 0.77, 0.68, 0.67, 0.65. That's
under 1 per game.
Way under, yeah.
So 2/3 of a stolen base.
2/3 is the best in the league.
Gotta love it.
By a team that won how many games this year?
Gotta love it.
45.
Yeah. Imagine how many games they would have won if they had not had that 3/4 of a stolen base every year.
Yeah, would have been 42.
Exactly. So, anyway, all right. Well, so much for my segue, but
well, listen, it's nice to go back and
of course you go back.
Well, you can still segue. We remember. We remember that you were just talking about the '86 Mets. How could we forget?
How could you forget?
They come up every podcast.
They do. Well, you gotta hang your hat on something.
Well, it's a shame that neither one of those teams has won it since.
Neither one of those, right? The Giants.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
I know. So they've won 3.
Well, look, they're leaving free. They're leaving
the 86 Giants have not won a Super Bowl since '86.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. The '86 Giants have not. You're absolutely right. So anyway, who were here? Let me ask you this, without googling anything. Who were the 2 teams? Because the Giants went 14-2, well 17-2 if you count the Super Bowl and the playoffs. Who were the 2 teams that the Giants lost to in the regular season? Anything?
In 86? Was that 85, 86, or was it 86?
86, and the Super Bowl was in 87.
87, okay.
January 87.
I'll
give you a hint. One of them was a divisional game. One of them was an AFC game.
Didn't they lose in the regular season to the Broncos?
They did not.
Okay.
I would say the Eagles.
They did not.
Cowboys?
Cowboys. They lost their opening game to the Cowboys.
And then I'm going to say
they were 0-1 after the first week.
I want to say it was an AFC West team.
It was an AFC West team.
Was it the Raiders?
Nope.
Chargers?
Nope.
We've only got how many left? Kansas City Chiefs?
Nope.
All right, so who's
the
left?
other team?
It was a team that is no longer in the AFC West. It's actually in the NFC West.
Houston Oilers?
No, it's actually in the NFC West.
Los Angeles Rams?
No.
Cardinals? No.
No.
NFC West, not the Seahawks.
Cardinals were the Seahawks.
The Seahawks were an AFC team.
Seahawks were in the AFC West.
Oh yeah.
No, well, Steve Largent got to him that day. Huh?
There you go. Exactly.
How do I not know that the Seahawks were in the AFC?
Seahawks were the AFC West.
Really? They played the Broncos and the Chargers and the Raiders.
The Broncos, Chargers, Raiders, Chiefs, and Seahawks.
It makes sense.
Yeah, don't you remember
Jim Zorn?
No, what's his name? Jesus. Bo and
Luke.
The linebacker. Bo and the Boz.
Bo and Luke Duke. Brian Bosworth.
Yeah.
Well, was he on them when they were in the AFC?
Yeah.
Absolutely. They were in the
Bo
AFC.
Jackson ran over him on his way to the end zone, I believe.
Oh, Bo Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah, Bo Jackson and Bo and the Boz.
Bo and the Boz, yeah.
Wow.
The Seahawks became an NFC team 20 years ago, maybe. When the realignment, when the Texans came in, they became an NFC team.
They were desperate to get out of that division.
There you go.
They're like, yeah, we'll go.
Did that happen when the Brewers became
that was when the
National League team?
The Brewers became a National League team. The Seahawks became an NFC team.
Now I got it.
Exactly. So.
It had something to do with Robin Yount's cholesterol count or something.
Exactly. So anyway, all right, football. Let's start with the quiz. Here we go. Kick it off with the quiz. We did 70s, 80s, 90s. Now we're going to do 2000s players. Same.
I don't
same
know
format.
any of them.
Well, I'm going to give them to you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you'll know them. Trust me. 2000s players. Again, 4 stay, 2 go. I'm giving you 6. 4 stay, 2 go. I'm giving you a linebacker. Right. I'm giving you 3 defense, 3 offense. The linebacker, cornerback, and defensive end. I'm giving you a quarterback, a running back, and a tight end. Here we go.
All right.
4 stay, 2 go. Here we go. Obviously, the same question for both of you. Here we go. Derek Brooks is your linebacker. Peyton Manning is your quarterback. Charles Woodson is your cornerback. LaDainian Tomlinson is your running back. Pete's favorite, Michael Strahan, is your defensive end. I know one that Pete won't be picking already. So.
Well, I wouldn't be so sure about that.
He was a systems end.
He was a systems end, right?
Kind of was at the end.
And your tight end, of course, is Mr. Tony Gonzalez. So Derek Brooks, Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, LaDainian Tomlinson, Michael Strahan, Tony Gonzalez.
We have to do what? Pick how many?
Pick 4. You're getting rid of 2. Keep 4. Who are you keeping? What do you think?
Well, Strahan's obviously out.
You homer. So who else besides Strahan are you getting rid of?
So I got, run them down again. So we got
Derek Brooks, Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, LaDainian Tomlinson, who I know you're obviously going to keep, and the other one's Tony Gonzalez.
So, well, I've already dumped a defensive player. So I just want to get rid of another D. You just go with the power offense.
You take the best players.
Right. Who do you take?
I will. I'll get rid of Woodson.
You're going to get rid of Woodson. So you're going to keep.
I'll go offense heavy with Peyton, the other LT, and Tony G.
And you're going to keep Derek Brooks.
And Brooksy, you're on your own. Just like you actually in real life.
Just like you actually were.
It's you and no one else on the defense.
Well, you have Warren Sapp. So.
Well, yeah, but I don't.
This is true. This is true. You don't. Yeah.
This is an even worse situation. But if anyone can rise above it, it's Derek Brooks.
It's Derek Brooks, right? All right. Harry?
That's a tough one.
Who do you think?
I mean, I know this is going to sound. Look, I think Derek Brooks is one of the best players of all time. I'm gonna get rid of Strahan.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I don't need Peyton Manning. Not with the rest of this team.
Okay.
That was the other way I was thinking of going, actually.
I mean, you could argue that, and you could argue Peyton Manning and Michael Strahan were 2 of the best of all time at their position too, but the other guys were kind of game changers,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
they were. So
I think it was between Woodson and Peyton, but I'm gonna keep my defense intact and get a systems quarterback.
There you go.
To hand it off to LaDainian.
Yeah, and between Tony Gonzalez and LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah,
you can.
One of the Hasselback boys will do. You can
put Matt or Tim in there. I'll take care of it. Right?
Yeah, or Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
I'm gonna take my my second best linebacker ever in the history of the game, and I'll get a systems corner.
That's right. Right. I just figure if the other team with Woodson, Brooks, I don't know.
Yeah, you'll keep them from scoring, and you won't need
to
get in the end zone a lot.
Yeah. Exactly. So
that's
just grind it out with Tomlinson, and then you need a pass play. You got Tony.
And if we have to, we could put both LT and Gonzalez and make them play both ways.
They could play Iron Man. Yeah,
Gonzalez could be a linebacker and LT could be a safety.
Right, exactly. All right. All right. So,
just put him back there. Get out there. Play deep.
I'm sure in high school they played,
of course they
similar
did.
positions.
Yeah, you played both ways, obviously. So, all right. Let's talk some NFL. First of all, the Giants won.
You guys haven't even talked NFL yet?
No.
We were talking about the Mets and the shift. And
wow.
Mm-hmm. The World Series.
All right, and NFL.
The Mets front office. Well, actually, I
we actually had a lengthy conversation about going back to the gym.
To
start the.
I announced that I'm going back to the gym, and so we began talking about that and that.
To the gym or the gin?
I'm going back to the
first
gym.
One.
He's going back to the gym.
First one, and then the other.
Okay. So the gin first.
You just bring gin and tonic in a water bottle to the gym.
Right.
Yeah, I'm working on a drunken workout that I think is going to be very, very popular when I get it figured out.
Didn't work on something like that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
anyway. that took up a good portion of time.
There you go. So anyway, the Giants won.
Giants look good. Nothing that you can't look. That's the best game they played in a couple of years. Don't you think?
It definitely was. What did you think about? What you think about Jones's catch?
Thought it was great. He only looked slightly. I was going to use another word.
He only looked
awkward.
He only looked a little awkward catching it, but he did. He got one-handed. I mean, it wasn't quite Odell Beckham-esque, but
no, he didn't trip over the 3-yard line. So,
right. So there you go. But
Daniel, you know how I feel about Daniel. Daniel Jones isn't the problem with the Giants this year.
No,
he's playing exactly the way you would expect him to be. Fairly average. But he doesn't have a full array of weapons, and the defense finally showed up.
Yeah, that was the defense finally showed up, and now one's gone.
And I think Carolina is sort of one of those teams that maybe we were thinking a little too highly of them in the beginning of the season.
True. And again, their other win came against the Saints too, and they're not too shabby of a team.
Right.
Although they did beat a shabby team last night, but that's
Saints are not that good of a team either. So.
No.
But there's a lot of mediocrity.
Yeah. Do the Giants? I don't know. Do you think maybe they?
What do you think?
Like I would think going into this game, they would probably maybe be a little bit looser than normal. Like I wonder if they have a little
ligament damage,
liquid help.
No, like a little. Like in other words, they're just like
they were in your gin program.
It's the Panthers. Yeah, they're not drinking enough gin when they're working out. Obviously, like it's the Panthers, and we got a shot at this one. Maybe they're a little bit more loosey goosey going into.
Well, they heard the podcast last week and heard me pick them. So
you think that's what it was? They were like, "Well, John picked us, so he has faith."
I would think that they've had. I would think they would have fought that against Atlanta. More so than Carolina
and Washington, because they've owned Washington for the last several years.
Yeah. I just think they're an inconsistent team. They're professional athletes. I don't think they think I don't think they think one way or the other they have a better chance. And maybe they matched up better against Carolina. I just think they executed better. And
but like, what is like? There has to be something, right? Is it the play calling? Is it the different philosophy? Are they just getting better because they seem like they look good one week and then they lay a stinker?
They made some plays, and if you really watch the game, it wasn't as lopsided as the score maybe would have made you think.
Right.
Like I'm not saying Carolina was close, but had a couple plays gone one way or the other, it would have been a slightly different game. The Giants may have had to fight a little bit more to win it.
And let's be real. I mean, they're literally. I mean, no, neither the Washington game nor the Atlanta game should have been as close as they were. They shouldn't have been. But maybe the Washington game, but the Atlanta one, the way Atlanta was playing at the time anyway, shouldn't have been that close. But the bottom line was that they were
play better.
Should play better, yeah. But the bottom line is, when it comes right down to it, they're one bad call and one wrong play or bad play or whatever away from right now from being 4-3 instead of 2-5.
It's funny how you can be so positive, and then on game day, it just be
absolutely. Well, all bets are off in that.
I mean, I know the negative's better for ratings,
absolutely,
but
Plus,
Well,
plus,
John
if, I-
has,
plus, if
you
I
know-
don't post, if I don't post rants on Sunday, 100 people start writing in saying, "John, where are you?"
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
Well, it could be
He's-
a
he's a-
positive rant.
He's prone to mood swings at times. but
exactly.
That
You know
just
what?
means he's a true fan.
I got to be honest with you, though. The other day, I lost my mood ring.
So you didn't know how you were feeling.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know. I'm just trying to. I mean, yeah, they're just an inconsistent team. But what is it that on the game or games when they play well? What is it that they do? Do they just have more confidence? Are they more relaxed? Is it a different game plan?
Look,
It can't just be, well, they're doing the same thing. They just happen to do it better sometimes.
Right.
Or can it? I don't know.
I got to be honest with you. I think the play calling on Sunday was a lot different than it has been in most games so far this year. I think
Because it had to be.
Yeah, I think Jason Garrett opened up his bag of tricks, and maybe he felt a little bit of the pressure, saying, "Okay, well, if there's going to be a scapegoat, if they continue down this path, it's probably going to be him." So
Definitely will be him.
Yeah. So what to do here? So definitely. Do you think he's safe for now? Obviously, everybody's safe if they're winning, right? But,
Well, it was a throwback game. I mean, there wasn't a ton of offense.
No.
Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones together passed for less yardage than Tom Brady had in the first half.
Right.
I mean, one touchdown and one interception between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good game for Daniel Jones because he wasn't put in a position where he had to throw it 50 times.
Right. Right.
They had a little bit of a rushing game, albeit with their, was their receivers rushing the ball much as their
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek Booker had
and Daniel Jones had 8 carries. So I just think
Devontae Booker had 51 yards.
It was really.
It was 100 and rushing. They had a 103-yard rushing game.
Right. The Giants made tackles, and Carolina was atrocious in getting the ball, converting first downs or scoring. They were horrible. So as much as the Giants played well, Carolina looked bad.
Mm-hmm.
And look, Carolina's got 4 losses, so it's not like they're closer to 500 than the Giants. But like John said, the Giants, I'll give them the Giants should maybe be 3-4 too, like Carolina. So I don't know.
Carolina's not good.
I don't think either team is horrible. I think the Giants are right on track to win the amount of games that I said they were going to win this year.
Carolina's better with Christian McCaffrey. Go figure.
Well, you think?
Christian McCaffrey is good. Carolina is not good.
Right. Exactly. He's that good of a player.
He has that kind of impact. Yeah.
And
I thought you said Ed McCaffrey was playing this week.
He was. He did. You just didn't notice.
I didn't notice.
He was their backup punter.
Is that what it was? All right. But,
no. I mean, we'll see. Look, I think this game, the Giants game this week, is going to be interesting because if there's in the beginning of the year, you looked at this game and said the Giants have no chance. The Chiefs are going through the same sort of turmoil and uncertainty that the Chiefs will most likely win that game, but it might not be. It might be closer than you think.
It might be closer than you think. It might be an actual, it might be a good Monday night football game.
Yeah, it might be
between two shitty teams.
Or it might be. Or here's the thing: Kansas City, I don't think is a shitty team. I think Kansas City is a team that is
between two teams that are playing
really poorly.
Poorly, yeah.
I think the Giants are playing just as good as they are.
Right.
I think that's who they are. I don't think the Giants are underperforming. I think the Giants are
you're asking me who's the better team? Clearly, the Kansas City Chiefs are the better team.
Hands
down.
But Kansas City's a good team that's not playing very well.
Right. Depends on which Kansas City team is going to show up and play on Monday night. That's the question.
The Giants are a team are going to win. That are supposed to win 6 games this year, and that's what they'll probably do.
Mm-hmm.
It says you.
Well, I mean, I'm not criticizing them.
Did you even pick him for 6?
I think 6 or 7. I think I picked 6.
You picked him. I'll tell you right now. I got it right.
I think I had the most wins for the Giants, didn't I?
You did. Pete, you said that the Giants were going to go 9-8.
There we go.
I said the Giants were going to go 8-9. Harry said they were going 7-10.
That's a 7.
So.
I'm looking right. Maybe.
It's still early.
Yeah, the Giants could win a couple more games. I think they'll win one against Washington. They'll beat the Eagles. It's the games that we already outlined, and they'll steal one here or there, and they'll lose one that they should win.
Yeah, they could end up a 4-win team too.
Yeah, they could. Yeah. You, Pete, you also said that the Jets. You gave the Jets the most wins too. I said 5-12. Harry said 4-13. You said 6-11.
Yeah.
So.
Well, obviously, I'm going to be wrong in both cases.
I think all of us are going to be wrong on both of them, so it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, but you guys will be closer.
All right.
Who will have?
In other words, this is our
closer
over.
To being less wrong.
I took the over.
So we're going to be less wrong than you. Is basically
I took the over. You guys kind of took the under, so you're going to win on that one.
Yeah.
Positive steps for the Giants, though. Their defense, they executed better. They played. The Giants played the best game they could have against a team that seems to have lost its offensive identity and its offensive firepower with its best player. So,
you're right.
It would be the equivalent of Tennessee not having Derrick Henry, and maybe even more so with Carolina, because
I'd say
that's all they have.
Thoughts on...
listen, this is not saying much, but Sam Darnold is no Ryan Tannehill.
And I would just like to point out to everybody listens to this podcast on a regular basis.
Ryan Tannehill's never heard that before.
That is the exact first time that Pete has ever called Sam Darnold straight out of the bat without adding the word Bradford in there.
It's also the first time the phrase is no
Ryan
Tannehill has ever been uttered, on the air anywhere.
Right.
That tells you how
Sam
sad
Darnold is no Tom Brady. Let me tell you.
That tells you how sad things are.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Though.
Not only is he no Tom Brady, he's no Ryan Tannehill.
He's no Ryan Tannehill. Exactly. He's not even a good Chad Henne. So
he's not even.
Chad Henne and Ryan Tannehill are pretty close.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sure. He's certainly
they're cut from the same cloth.
And he's certainly no Chad Pennington, but we won't go there.
I think Ryan Tannehill had a Chad Henne poster on his wall growing up. He was the only one.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, all right. How do you feel about Jabril Peppers now? He's probably played his last game as a Giant, too, because his contract's up.
How many more injuries can the Giants have?
It's ridiculous every week. They got to do something. They literally. I'm sorry. I'm confirmed believer now, and they need to put regular grass back in that field because there's too many ACL injuries coming.
Well, let me ask you guys a question: are athletes becoming too fast, too strong, too whatever? I mean, if you look at every major sport, I don't have any stats in front of me, but it's pretty obvious that the injuries, just long-term, short-term, the constant rash of injuries that players are experiencing, it seems to be double, maybe even triple what it used to be.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, sure, I don't think it's just the playing surface.
It adds to it, but I think
there's something to the fact that these guys are literally too strong for their own tendons, ligaments, and body.
Yeah, I mean, you can strengthen your muscle, you can strengthen your bones to a point. Obviously, taking supplements and calcium and everything else, but you can't strengthen a tendon. You can't strengthen a ligament.
It's like last night I was watching the Nuggets game and I was like, well, the one thing Nikola Jokic has going for him is he's out of shape. So that should help him sustain this injury, and
right.
not.
Right.
I mean, there's something to be said. I don't know. It's a question that I think needs to be asked because I think the quality of sports is declining because at any given moment, one of your best players is out.
Sure.
I have been saying this for years about. To me, the most obvious case is baseball, but I think it's true. And baseball players like remember when Ricky Henderson, right, was like one of the few guys that had that physique before everybody kind of, he was cut and he
helped him sort of stay.
Right. No, it did. But my point is now everyone is like that. I think it's exactly what you said. Well,
not everyone.
No, but not in baseball.
There were a lot of people that way.
There's a lot of people taking the Bartolo Colon.
But my point is that
endurance diet.
You had guys that were strong and athletic and fast, but they had regular kind of flexible bodies. There wasn't so much tension. There wasn't so much strength. And when these guys get hurt, these guys that are cut and muscled up,
Right.
They get hurt and and it takes a long time. I think it
I
takes
also
longer
think
to
it's
come
just
back.
the size of players too. If you look at something like an Aaron Judge or even a Gronkowski in football, or some of these offensive linemen, they're just so enormous that if you move, it's just physics. If you take that much force and put it in a way that's unnatural for your body to sustain, well, you're obviously going to hurt something.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but selfishly for me, it ruins a lot of sports. Name one major sporting event, finals or championship series or playoff series, that has not been totally decimated by injuries in major sports over the last 3 or 4 years.
Sure.
You can't
do it.
You can't. I mean,
there's always somebody who's missing.
There's always somebody. It's already this NBA season. It's like LeBron James and Anthony Davis are already missing games, and we're on game 4.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is. So
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. It's just that these guys are bigger and stronger, and it's more strain, and something has to give sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
J.R. Reed,
by the way, is still playing.
There you go.
Hasn't had an injury since 1978.
Hasn't been hurt since 67.
J.R. Reed ended his contract with the Rams to come to the Giants.
J.R. Reed?
J.R. Reed, yes.
The pitcher?
He was you're right.
That's Eric Smith, right?
Yeah. He was he was an undrafted free agent last year to Jacksonville. Then he went to the Rams. Played with the Rams a couple weeks ago as a safety, obviously. But obviously he's going to replace Jabril Peppers, obviously, the depth there. So, but here's a question for you. At this point in the season, and in his career for that matter, do you trade Evan Ingram before the trade deadline? Do you get something for him? Or do you keep him at this point and see where it goes?
Are we still waiting for him to blossom?
He is what he is.
He's better than he was.
He's better than he was.
You could argue he's a top 7, 8 tight end.
He's definitely a top 10 tight end. In the last couple of years, there's been a couple of years in the last few years that he's been a top 5 tight end, or at least I don't have the issues with Ingram that a lot of other people do. I think he's one of those guys that will flourish if the other people have more talent around him. It depends on the other talent. If you overuse him, or exactly.
He's not a number 1 guy. He can't.
What's his problem? He couldn't catch the ball. Was that?
He can catch the ball. He just has a problem letting it go once it hits his hands. So it's cases of the dropsies too many times.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
But he hasn't really had that this year. But you could also argue he hasn't had as many. Although the first two games he had the most. Didn't he have the most targets of any Giant?
He did. Had a lot of targets then. Yeah.
Well, are the Giants going to be a?
What would you want?
It depends.
That's my question.
It depends on Daniel
what could
Jones
you get
too.
for him? What could you get for him?
Well,
you're going to get a 4th or a 5th round pick.
I think then you keep him.
You keep him. You keep him.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that. That's
where
I was going. You're not going to get. Nobody's giving you a 2nd round pick for him. You're going to get a 4th or 5th round pick.
Does he block well?
No tight end does though anymore.
Okay, so if you're going to keep Daniel Jones, right?
That's why they got Rudolph.
They'd be better off. They'd be better off signing Antonio Gates right now, straight off the couch.
Well, my question is, if
blocking,
you're going to keep Daniel Jones, are you going to be a vertical team, or are you going to be more of a dink and dunk team? And if you're going to be a dink and dunk team,
he fits.
You need a good tight end.
He fits in it, yeah.
So a tight end that you can dunk to,
right,
or dink to, depending on.
You can do either. You can dink or dunk.
If he's good for that, fine. If you're going to be a power running team and he can't
roll out and dink, or fade, or drop back and dunk.
I'll tell you who would have been a good tight end, and then Evan Ingram would have been maybe a little bit more irrelevant in this conversation. There's a guy. His name is Kyle Pitts.
Kyle
Pitts,
Donner.
Yeah.
Kyle
Pitts, I think. Yeah, he's looking okay.
Yeah,
Kyle Pitts. Oh, I thought you were going somewhere else, but the Giants have another tight end by the name of Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, but I mean, he's sort of in the Zeke Mowat period.
He's in the Zeke Mowat period of his career, absolutely. But he can still catch, as Zeke Mowat did.
Yeah,
he can still catch passes,
and
he can block too.
I like Kyle Rudolph. I think he's done exactly what the Giants expected of him this year. He's a poor man's Jason Witten.
There you go. All right. Let's move on to the
he's no Ryan Tannehill.
He's no Ryan Tannehill.
We'll bring up the Giants have the Giants have the Chiefs next Monday night. It's a 9. The Chiefs are favored by 9.5. right now.
Yeah.
Seems about right.
I'd take the Chiefs.
The over-under is 51.5. So, which I find a little high, the fact that it's the Giants and the way the Chiefs have played. You know, the Giants and the Chiefs together scored.
The Chiefs give up a lot of points, though. So I think the Giants will score at least 20 points against the Chiefs.
The Giants and the Chiefs had 28 points total together last week. But in any event,
the Chiefs were horrible. I mean, that's a.
Right.
When was the last time the Chiefs scored 3 points?
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to that's Monday night. We'll talk about that and beat by the coin. Let's move on to the Jets. The Jets they lost by a small margin, right, on Sunday.
Yeah,
that was
that's probably. I don't know what the line on this game was, but
the line on the game was 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Line on the game was 7.
They lost by
well,
6.
let me run down. This is the Jets offense real quick for you.
They lost by 41 points.
Yeah. Starting with their first drive, 5 plays and a punt. 13 plays, missed field goal. 10 plays and a touchdown. 8 plays, turnover. 3 plays, and then it's the end of the half.
Sounds like
Third quarter, 10 plays and a touchdown. 7 interception. 4 interception. 9 turnover on downs. 7 a punt, and then 4 and a fumble.
There you go.
Well, they started out okay.
But that was all Mike White, though. That was all Mike White because
right.
Whatchamacallit was out by then.
Yeah, but would it have really been that different?
No.
If Zach Wilson
had been a little different.
But is there
so what it might have been 54 to 20.
Is there anybody
54
better?
to 27.
Is there anybody better than Joe Flacco on the Jets? I mean, this is a match made in heaven.
Right. So coming up this week, yeah.
I mean, is he going to start?
Of course he's going to start.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think they brought him in to sit on the bench behind Mike White.
For 1 week, maybe. I don't know. But I mean, it's basically like, all right, Joe, get in there, make sure the ball gets you in the hands, drop back, and don't die.
Right.
That's the offensive game plan.
Flacco's backo.
Yeah.
So there you go. Speaking of that, though, the 54 to 13, I think was the
yeah.
That was the most points allowed that the Jets, the most points the Jets have allowed since 1979.
That surprises me.
They haven't. Yeah. That they haven't given up more than 54 points. And
has anybody ever given up more than 100?
No. The biggest score was Giants gave up 72 points.
What if Will Chamberlain played the Jets in 71? What was the score?
Giants gave up 72 points to Washington.
That's the most ever?
Yeah. 72 points.
Oh, so there you go. The Giants hold the record for the crappiest defense ever.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, listen, this is probably not going to be a very good year for Zach Wilson.
No.
Well, I think do they shut him down for the rest of the year?
Oh, is that true?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Do they shut him down?
No, I don't think.
I don't think Robert Saleh is going to do that either. I think when he's ready to come back, they may let him nurse with Joe Flacco in there now. They may let him nurse.
How many games does Flacco make it before he's knocked out?
3.
You think that many?
3.
You mean injured, knocked out, or we realize he sucks?
He's Mike White.
He's never gonna be bad enough for them.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, this could be a game where you would go, "Oh, listen, Flacco comes back, right? He's getting another chance. He's rejuvenated. He comes in and has a good game, and they pull off the upset." No.
I like Flacco. I'm happy.
I do too, but he's not going to do well. And then he's, I don't know who they're playing after Cincinnati, but he's not going to do well then either. And then they're going to be right back where they were before.
I mean, if there's anybody who knows Cincinnati, it's Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco knows Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He does.
But this is not your daddy's Bengals team.
No, so. The Bengals arguably the most improved team in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
That Joe Burrow that nobody wanted to give any. All I heard was how much better Trevor Lawrence was than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was a pretty good draft choice.
Yeah.
He was.
He's a pretty good quarterback.
And he's coming off a pretty horrific injury. So.
I know. And that's what I'm afraid of with Wilson.
What's Josh McCown doing now? I mean, he was on the Texans last year. I don't think he's playing this year. So
I'd bring him back. Sure,
bring him back in.
Take Cade McCown.
Pair him up with Joe Flacco.
Brian, what was the Just pair them up. Put 2 quarterbacks back there.
Line them out wide right.
Run like a modified
lateral to
wildcat.
one, and he can pass. And
Yeah. 2 quarterback splits. 2 old quarterback splits. Flacco.
Flacco to McCown.
Nobody knows who the snap's going to go to.
Yeah.
McGowan to Flacco. Flacco to McGowan. 3
Be like a
laterals
wish,
later.
they could run like a wishbone.
That's
Right, exactly.
2 quarterbacks and a halfback in the backfield.
Something like a wishbone.
Yeah.
A lot of wishing going on.
There's a whole lot of wishing going on. All right, go ahead.
Whatever. I don't know what to.
Well,
I mean,
the Jets are playing Cincinnati.
we're just hoping for something positive with the Jets at this point.
Look, if the Jets can stay within 10 points of Cincinnati this week, that's got to be. I mean,
no, oddly enough, the point spread is 9.5 as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll take Cincinnati, and I'll take a gentleman's win for the Jets.
Yeah, it shouldn't be about winning any actual games for the Jets this season.
You know, I think
about
I
let's find out who's good and who's not good, and let's hope that we can get Zach Wilson healthy and
23-13, something like that. You know,
23-13.
Yeah, 13's that's giving him a lot of credit.
Flacco, man, he's gonna come out with his dancing shoes. You're gonna want
okay.
They might score a defensive touchdown.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
3 field goals.
The over/under is 43. So 23-13 is a little
going to
low,
be
so.
41-3.
So it'll be 30-13.
So
40
take the over.
The Bengals are a team that can light up the
41-3, take
scoreboard
the
if they
over.
want to.
Take Cincinnati and the over.
Well, the Jets they started out not giving up a ton of points, but if the last couple of weeks are any indication, they're
right.
By the way, 5-2.
5-2.
In the top of the 6th, Atlanta. Within striking distance.
There you go. All right. Couple other games from last week. A couple of things I'll mention actually first. One, Jamar Chase. He has over 200 yards now. Speaking of Cincinnati, obviously.
200 yards, you mean in that game?
In that game, yeah.
Yeah.
He had over 200 yards in that
game. He has over 200 yards in his career now.
His career, yeah. He passed Anquan Bolden for most receiving yards by a rookie in a season halfway through Game 7.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to cement that record for a long time this year.
He's a systems wide receiver.
Look,
yeah.
Say what you will about the Bengals, they have much like the Giants, they have a long track record of draft, only because they're always in the position to draft at the top. Right. But they have a long history of drafting really great wide receivers.
Yeah, Jamar Chase, Chad Ochocinco, Chris Collinsworth. You know, I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm kidding, but they're all true. But
Collinsworth isn't he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah,
he's annoying as shit, but he was a great wide receiver.
He was a great wide receiver. But and then on they were talking on, I guess it was Sunday night with Al Michaels, and Chris Collinsworth says he's definitely the best wide receiver that the Bengals have ever had. And Al Michaels looked at him and says, "Really?" So.
Yeah, I mean, Collinsworth's going to be lucky to be in the top 5 in a couple of years.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the era that he played in, too.
Right.
You could say the same thing about Steve Largent. You know, it's just the way it is.
Well, remember, Steve Largent was the first recipient ever
of the Steve Largent Award. He was the first recipient ever of the Jamar Chase Award.
Right, exactly. So, anyway, there was that one, and this is another funny thing. This is another not funny thing, but interesting thing. Here we go. Ready? Well, first of all, I'll set it up by saying this. Des Bryant tweeted last week, Derrick Henry is the player that we all created whenever I'm going to read it as Des Bryant tweeted it, because you'll get what he means, but you got to love the way Des Bryant actually.
Maybe you could do a Des Bryant impersonation.
I can't do. I'll just read it the way he wrote it. Ready? Derrick Henry is the player we all created whenever we was younger on Madden.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whenever we was younger on Madden. So whenever we was older on Madden, we didn't. But anyway, Derrick Henry is the player we all created when we played Madden. That's what he said, right? But let me tell you this now. Jonathan Taylor from the Colts is currently second in rushing yards for the season, behind Derrick Henry. All right. Delvin Singletary from the Bills is 25th in rushing yards. Jonathan Taylor is closer to Delvin Singletary in yards than he is to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry already has 869 rushing yards. Jonathan Taylor has 579. Delvin Singletary at 25 has 311. So, but Derrick Henry's it's insane. It really is.
What draft class was Derrick Henry?
4 years ago, 5 to 17, I think he was.
Was he in the same draft class as Saquon?
No, I think it was the year before. I'm going to check right now, as a matter of fact. Hold on.
Let's get Jimmy. Jimmy,
get on that. Dan Patrick has people who get on this a lot quicker than Jimmy.
There you go. 2 years before Saquon.
2 years.
Okay. He was round two. Round two, pick 45 overall.
What year is that?
2016. So we just go to that draft.
Let's see who was drafted before him.
That's what we're going to look for here. Running backs drafted before Derrick Henry. Zeke Elliott was drafted before Derrick Henry. He was drafted fourth overall.
He's okay.
And Derrick Henry was the second running back taken. There was pick number 4 was Zeke, and pick 45 was Derrick Henry. He was the second running back.
Wow.
So
that seems a bit odd.
Jared Goff was taken number 1. Carson Wentz was taken number 2. Joey Bosa,
I was going to say, yeah. Tyreek Hill, right?
Then Zeke Elliott. Jalen Ramsey was 5. I'm just skipping over the people that didn't work out. Giants drafted Eli Apple at number 10.
Remember that motherfucker?
Yeah.
Is he still playing? He's on Tampa, isn't he?
He's on, I believe he is.
I think he went somewhere, and then he went somewhere else.
He went somewhere and won a ring. I think he went right.
No,
he's on the Bengals.
He's on the Bengals right now. Yeah, he's on the Bengals. He went to the Saints. He was on the Saints for a while.
Somewhere, he went somewhere. Then...
That's right.
He went somewhere, and then he's somewhere else.
Saints, Panthers is what I was thinking of.
He was pretty good, though, wasn't he?
After he left the Giants.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He was not.
No, he was horrible on the Giants.
He was horrible.
Was he?
His first 2 years, he was horrible.
It was bad. It was a bad pick.
Fiona Apple was better back then.
The Giants probably would have been better served using that pick to get Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Just saying. But Vernon Hargraves was number 11 for the Bucks. Nobody. Shaq Lawson for the Bills at 19.
A lot of names you don't.
A lot of nobodies. Yeah, but
Paxton Lynch. The Broncos drafted Paxton
Lynch at 26.
Green Bay. Imagine him on Green Bay.
Forget about it. Hunter Henry went pick 35 to the Chargers, and Miles Jack
Chris
was
Jones.
36. Chris Jones 37. And then you go down. Boom. Derrick Henry 45. There you go.
Damn.
Michael Thomas was taken after Derrick Henry. Although the way Michael Thomas has played the last couple of years, I'd rather have Derrick Henry too. So,
I mean, Derrick Henry was, Alabama, and didn't he? Did he win the Heisman Trophy?
Yeah, 2015. Yes, he did. So,
how did I don't? Yeah.
So basically, the Giants take Eli Apple at 10 because they don't want to take a running back at 10, and then 2 years later they take a running back at 2. So there you go. Well, Giants also had a different GM then too. So anyway, okay.
Well, if they had Derrick Henry, they wouldn't have had Saquon.
They wouldn't have Saquon.
They might have had a different quarterback.
They might have had. They might have had. Oh, I don't know. Maybe Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Could you picture Derrick Henry, the Giants running back, and Josh Allen, Giants quarterback?
I certainly can.
I
dream about it every night.
Might be a little different team now.
Segue right into that dream to my dream about Salma Hayek. But
from one to the other.
Yeah.
Which direction though?
Well, I always end with Salma because that's more realistic than the Giants drafting somebody good.
I have to agree with you on that one. But in any event, all right. So there you go. All right. Yeah. Any other games we picked
They
last week?
They were all blowouts.
They were all blowouts.
Ooh.
They were. I mean,
it was the week of blowouts.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah, I mean the Ravens got beat up and the Chiefs got beat up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'm just going to say this.
Falcons. Falcons won again too.
This is going to be controversial, but a Tom Brady guy, watch out. He might turn into something.
Yeah, he could.
He could turn into a good quarterback. I think
he's finally blossoming.
I think
in his 40s.
Just about time, right? 40. Yeah. He's going to be 45.
Yeah,
after the season.
Yeah, so. I mean, by the time he's 50, he's going to be one of the best.
He's going to be right in there.
He'll be top 20, right? At least. Yeah.
Absolutely, he'll be right in there. He'll be ready to go. So he'll be ready to
just rock and roll. It was like watching a scrimmage. Anyway,
yeah, it was pretty sad. And I read something, paraphrasing a little bit, but it was a meme, and it had a dejected Justin Fields sitting on the sideline in his Bears cap, and it said, "This is what it looks like when the internet forces the team to get you to start, and then you throw 3 interceptions and lose 3 fumbles."
Well, the other thing too is that this is also after Brady had one sort of mediocre game, and it was close, and he's no good because doesn't have all his weapons. Well,
right.
He didn't have any of his weapons this week,
right.
with the exception of a couple.
Yeah,
he still looked pretty darn good.
He did.
And the Bears are probably maybe not as good as people thought they were.
This is true.
But that's pretty much the story every year.
This is true.
For the Bears. They're never as good as people thought they are.
Since 85.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah. And then the Saints beat the Seahawks on Monday night, too.
That was the garbage bowl. I mean, that was the most boring. Yeah. The weather was just...
Well, the weather was worse on Sunday night.
That's what I meant. Sunday night. The Sunday night game, the San Francisco game.
Yeah, the Colts.
Oh, God.
Yeah, when is Alvin Kamara's contract up in New Orleans? Did they lock him up recently? Because he's probably going to want to go somewhere else.
He's probably going to want to leave, yeah.
He'll probably wind up on the Chiefs.
No, he's going to wind up in the Bucs.
Yeah, the Bucs.
He's going to stay right in the same division. Are you nuts? Of course he is.
Well, and also, are the 49ers that bad, or are the Colts that good, or maybe a little...
They're both mediocre. The 49ers have no offense right now.
Yeah, the offense is just...
They're a weird team, the 49ers, aren't they? Yeah. Last couple of years, they have been...
They go to a Super Bowl, and then...
They're not bad, but they're also the most boring team to watch.
Yeah, they are.
They're like the Dodgers of the NFL.
Yeah. It's the system's football team.
Except they don't win.
Except, that's the only difference.
Yeah.
Just that. So there you go. All right.
It was an interesting week.
It was. And look, that's what the NFL wants, right? They want a little bit of parity, and they're certainly getting it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams whose win total starts with 3 going on right now.
Well, remember after week 1 how it was just doom and gloom for teams like the Packers, and who else lost week 1 that's now hasn't lost since, the Bills. Remember the Bills and Packers? They're not as good as they got deep problems. There's problems in Green Bay. Buffalo's got some serious soul searching.
Right.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. All right. Before we get to beaten by the coin.
Oh boy.
I just need to play one thing because we forgot to do it, and the fact that they lost 54 to 13 deserves
this should not even be a question that is asked, but
deserves this to be played this week. So here you go.
Are the Jets gonna win today? No. I mean yes. I mean no. I mean yes. I mean no. I mean yes. I mean no.
That actually was good. Oh, you did that there. So, anyway, all right.
I think the battle for worst team of New York is still. It has yet to be decided.
Yeah, it's not decided. The Giants have a little bit of an edge right now, but it's still a long season.
Well,
this week after next week's games, we're halfway through the season. Exactly, because of the bye and the extra game, we're halfway through.
I don't even think it's close, but I mean,
after week 9, this is week 8 coming up, the following week.
Despite the relative similarity of records, I think it's pretty obvious who the worst team in New York is.
So there you go. All right. Should we do a little beaten by the coin?
Should we? Yeah, let's.
Should we
take a look at
throw
some
that
of
up? Beaten by the coin, week 8. So here we go. Beaten by the coin.
Beaten by the coin.
I'm sure I'll lose to the coin.
No one wants to be beaten by the coin.
Was anybody beaten by the coin last week?
Matter of fact, we do have one of the on-staff professional picks here beaten by the coin. Now, we should mention that we did, as a lark, pick the Broncos-Browns game because our esteemed
somebody picked it right.
And a couple people picked it right. I was not one of them.
I was not the other.
So, although we didn't count it in the official standings, but congratulations.
Wait, how does it not count in the standings?
Because it throws off the numbers.
Oh, give me a break. That was not what we decided. We decided it's counting.
Did we?
Yeah.
We'll count it. We'll count it.
Oh,
Yeah.
did we? Okay. All right. Well, I will count it then.
All right.
That was a nail biter for me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I had that wrong. My mistake. All right, so let's see. Quick recap of last week. Now with the now.
Well, ironically, though, he's all happy he picked it. He's the one that lives in Denver. He's the only one that didn't pick Denver.
Because I see him every week.
Yeah, what did I say before, John? Who picked him and who didn't?
Me and you picked.
You guys picked Denver.
We picked Denver, and Harry and the coin picked the Browns.
All right, so with that in mind,
Mm-hmm.
John, you went 2-4 last week.
Right.
Now sitting at 20-16.
Right.
Harry gets the extra win, so he went 2-4 also.
Mm-hmm.
God, a bad week.
And sits at 21-15.
15, right? Yeah, one ahead of me.
See, this is why I didn't want to add that game. I got a couple of wins out of Cincinnati and Tennessee and
Yes, you did.
lost. So I went 3-3
Mm-hmm.
and now sit at 22-16.
Didn't I take Cincinnati? I didn't take Cincinnati.
No, you didn't.
No,
Who did I take?
You took the Ravens with me.
you took
Ah.
everybody but me took
Oh, that's right.
Cincinnati,
Ravens,
and
yeah.
everybody but me took Tennessee. And then the coin got a win with the Browns. So 3-3, 16-20.
There you go.
It's getting tight.
It's getting
So
tight.
it's tight.
One game separates the three of us.
That's
each,
right.
And the
We're all-
coin's
we're all
on our
pretty-
heels.
We're all
4
pretty
games back.
mediocre.
There you go.
Well, not too bad. I guess.
Not too bad, so. All right.
Yeah, listen, we're over 500.
Yeah, like 6 games.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got on the docket for this week
All right.
there?
I have no idea. There's an invoice.
Let me
there.
just.
Well, we actually went through and we saved time when we picked the 3 other games.
All right.
Excellent.
So Harry and the coin.
Only because there really wasn't a lot of decent
Cleveland.
games this week anyway, so it was 3
No,
glowing ones to pick. So.
All right. So I'll readjust all this afterwards.
Yeah.
All right. So this week we have another 5. We've got Cincinnati visiting the Jets.
Yep.
Anybody want the Jets?
Nope.
Absolutely not.
No.
All
no,
right.
no, no.
I don't. Me neither.
What's the coin say?
Coin says heads, which is the home team.
Taking the Jets.
So the
Coin might be
is-
onto something.
Coin might be onto something.
He
Maybe.
knows Joe Flacco's going to come out on fire.
Flacco's gonna go off on the. On
He
the Bengals.
probably will, and they'll lose like 38-30.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right, Giants heading to Kansas City.
I don't know how to pick this game.
I'm
really
taking Kansas City.
I can't look. If Kansas City does lose this game, then Kansas City's season is over.
Over. Absolutely.
I can't. My heart tells me, all right, take a risk, take the Giants. They're on a roll. Kansas City's got to turn their season around at home against the Giants. If they lose this game, they might have to take Andy Reid out and shoot him. I mean, I don't know. This would be a tough loss for the Chiefs.
It would be.
It's hard for me to believe the Chiefs can really be that bad. I think they have to win at home against the Giants.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs too.
It's tempting.
It is
The
tempting.
Giants, but the Chiefs just aren't that bad, and I think there's going to be a statement game. I think they're going to win big. But all right, heads.
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
There you go.
All right, Green Bay visiting Arizona. Another test. And every game is going to be a test for Arizona, right? Are they really this good until they lose? How many do they have to win?
The trick, let everybody know a little bit of a secret. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I know they are pretty good, but are they this good? Are they really 7-0 good? This will be another week of the test for them against Green Bay.
Who have the Cardinals beat compared to who have Green Bay's beaten? I think the Cardinals have beaten better teams, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they pounded a bunch of stiffs.
No, that's what I mean.
I'm not disagreeing. I think they're very good. I'm just saying that's kind of the narrative, right?
Right.
What's the spread on this one?
Oh,
I don't know.
Cardinals have to be favored by what? 2.5?
Cardinals are favored, but I don't think they're favored by a lot. Maybe 4 or 5. I'll look really quick, but continue.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals, they've obviously beaten the 49ers, the Texans. All right, well, that's not much. The Browns, they've beaten the Titans, the Rams, good Rams team.
Yeah.
They squeaked by the Vikings. And then, have they already played the Titans twice? No, that can't be.
No,
just once.
They wouldn't play the Titans.
Oh, they beat the Cowboys. And
sounds like a pretty good team to me.
Yeah,
Packers are. I mean, if as much as it's possible, the Packers are almost kind of under the radar, right?
They are, and they've also squeaked out some wins against
Cardinals are favored by 6.5.
6.5.
Ooh.
50.5 over under.
Definitely take the over.
Although I might, if we were going with the spread, I might take Green Bay. I'm taking the Cardinals. I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
I mean, and the Cardinals are home too, so.
Yeah, and they're at home.
You know. I don't know.
I don't know if Green Bay's got enough defense to foil Kyler Murray and crew.
Right. Yeah, you know what? I mean, I really want to take the Packers, but yeah, I got to go Cardinals.
This is the toughest pick of the week.
It is.
God, I'm tempted to take the freaking Packers.
All right, let me do the coin here while Harry ponders. Coin. Boy, the coin likes the home team.
There you go.
So, that's Arizona, right?
That's Arizona.
Look, I'm gonna go with Arizona. I think it's gonna be close. I'll take the Packers in the 6.5.
Yeah, I would definitely against the spread take the Packers.
But I just don't know if the Packers have enough to stop Arizona. And this might be a test. It might come down to a last possession, and instead of the ball being in Aaron Rodgers' hands, it's going to be in Kyler Murray's hands, and he's going to have to win a close one.
Right.
So I think it's a good test. I think the Cardinals make a statement and win this game, although I think it's going to be close. Take the over. Take the Packers getting 6.
Well, there was a news conference the other day. They were talking to Aaron Rodgers and said, "You ready for Arizona's? Are you guys ready for Arizona's bag of tricks?" And he says, "We have our own bag of tricks." He said, "So."
Yeah, he does.
So there you go. But
whatever that means.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! Music's done already. We got 2 games to do.
All right.
So, well, I had some math to do in the recap.
What's the next?
Let's load things. Pittsburgh at Cleveland. The battle of who's good?
Is what's his name playing in Cleveland? The quarterback.
Oh, look at that! More music.
Johnny Football.
What's Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel playing?
The new Johnny Manziel.
Oh, I don't know.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I haven't seen a report yet.
I think it makes a big difference.
It does.
Yeah.
And apparently it didn't last week, though.
Well, obviously, yeah. Give me, what's the prognosis on this?
J.J. Watt is out for the Cardinals, by the way.
Baker Mayfield says it's absolutely possible he could play Sunday.
Absolutely possible. It's 100% definite that it's a possibility he'll play Sunday.
What did the Browns do last week?
They lost to... No, they beat Denver.
That's right. They barely beat Denver.
In a squeaker.
Right. You picked them.
I did, because I knew the Broncos were just a smidgen worse than the Browns.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna.
Steelers just keep winning close games. Again, they got blown out by the Packers.
Yeah, the Steelers are not the Steelers of old, but
They're not even the Steelers of new.
Right.
They lost
They're
to the
better
Bengals
now than they were in the beginning of the season.
All right, who's better, Seattle or Cleveland?
Cleveland
Without Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
slightly.
Yeah.
With Baker Mayfield by a lot. Well, they're potentially
more
more
with Baker
explosive. That's for
Is
sure.
this in Cleveland?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I'm taking Pittsburgh.
I was gonna say I'm taking the Steelers too. I'm gonna take the Steelers.
They're more consistent. Cleveland is up and down, and
If Baker Mayfield was playing, he would have been absolutely possible. He might play.
yeah.
So,
I'm going to take the Browns. Fuck it.
all right.
I just think the Steelers are turnover prone. Baker Mayfield's going to play.
Uh-oh.
I dropped the coin.
Oh, no.
It's like dropping the soap, only
I don't know if I have another one.
it holds up the podcast.
No, that's not.
Whereas dropping the soap might actually get us some ratings.
There you go.
In certain markets.
Oh, in all markets.
I don't know where the coin went.
Well, I just flipped one and it came heads.
Okay. So heads is the home team. So there you go.
Browns.
Browns.
Mhm.
Last but not least, them Titans visiting them Colts.
Yeah, I got to go Titans. No question there. I think it'll be an interesting game because it's in Indy, but Derrick Henry is just a machine. If he's in the game, they don't even need Ryan Tannehill. Just hike him the ball and he can run it himself. Apparently, he can throw a pass too because he did. He threw a touchdown
Yeah,
this
it's
week.
kind of like a shot put. Yeah.
So, there you go.
I'm tempted to
And
take.
the music ran out again.
I'm tempted to take the Colts.
This is a Titans team, though, that lost to the Jets. Right?
This is a Titans team that lost to the Jets. Yes.
It's also a Titans team that beat the Bills, that crushed the Chiefs.
Here comes the music again.
I just don't know.
I'm not sure either, but I'm going with. I got to go. With
I'm
the
going to
Titans.
go. I'm going to go with the Titans.
Yeah, I don't think Indy is. Kind of look at last week's game as sort of an upset. I don't know if they're two weeks in a row upset good. So Titans it is. What's the
Coin
modified
says
coin?
home.
So Indy.
There you go.
Well, the coin went with Indy last week and won. So
This is true.
there we go. So we got a few differences.
All right.
With the Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and the coin, whatever.
And the coin for the
stupid
for those, yeah.
idiots.
I was gonna go Packers, but I can't. I can't do it. I had to go Cards.
Yeah, some good games.
I hope the Packers win it. I hope the Giants win their game, but whatever.
This might be the NFC Championship game.
This is true.
Could be.
Preview of the NFC Championship. There you go. Alrighty.
All right, there we go.
There's beaten by the coin for week number 8. Oh, and it worked out that time. There you go.
Perfect. Just keep reloading it. Eventually,
Just keep reloading it. Eventually, it'll be good.
When we hear it fading out, we go, and that's the NFL.
That's all. All right. Before we go to our top 10 list, I did have that question that I asked you guys to ponder last week.
What was the question?
Did you ponder, or do you want to push it off to next week? The question was, I needed you to name the player, team, season, year, game, whatever that made you fall in love with the NFL.
The NFL.
NFL football, just football in general, the NFL football. Was it, what was it? Did you think about it? Did you ponder it? Did you come up with anything, or would you like to do it for another week?
I'm going to say it was Walter Payton.
Okay.
And watching him play on Thanksgiving Day, I whatever the height in the 80s. It just seemed like he just was absolutely special and magical to watch, and made watching the Bears play on Thanksgiving Day way more tolerable.
There you go. That's true. Pete?
Well, I honestly can't tell you what game it was, because I was young and don't remember. But
this is what we're asking you to do.
I know, but
so just make one up.
Well, no. Here's what I can say though. When I was growing up, my dad had season tickets for the Jets at Shea. Good seats too, right on the 50, kind of right in that second tier, where you could sort of see over.
Sure.
So we used to go down to the games, and my mom would make, when it got cold, she'd make pea soup and get out the old hibachi and grill some steaks. So I'm thinking probably around, I'd say probably 1972.
Okay. Wow. That's early.
So I was, 7 years old, let's say. 7 years old. And that was when I first remember like wanting to go back to a game. Like really being more interested in the game that was going on than whatever else was happening.
Right.
Whether it was arguing with my sister about something stupid, or, whatever, watching the drunks in the stadium, or,
sure,
something like that. So watching the scoreboard change, that was so I can't pick a specific game, but probably sometime during that season.
Yeah.
Just kind of made me, I remember like asking my dad, I didn't understand, the ticket situation. I was like, can we go back to another game? He's like, well, we can go to all the home games. We have tickets for them.
There you go.
And so then I would, pester him. Are we going to the Jets this week? Are we going to the Jets this week? So that was kind of it. And also I remember I just loved the name Emerson Boozer.
Boozer.
It's great.
That was just a great name.
I always wanted
Ironically, he lives nearby now.
Right.
Or at least he used to, or whatever. So that was kind of the guy that, I guess, as much as anybody, I was 4 years old in 1969.
Right.
So too young to really have any real memory of,
right,
Joe Willie and the greatness of that season. But
sure.
But yeah, that was kind of when I started wanting to go to games and really started to, ask questions about how the game was played and kind of try and understand it a little bit, and to go see Emerson Boozer.
There you go. All right. And just for the record, if I had to go back, it was just, for as far back as I can remember. I don't even know how old I was when I remember, and I'm sure it was for years before that. Every Sunday, I would watch football with my father. And unless he was going to the game, because he went to the game. So, and as far back as I can remember, whenever he did go to a game, I watched football. I watched the game he was at, and and when I was really little, I was looking for Daddy.
Right.
Checking. Is he out there? But and then maybe I was, I don't know, 5, 6. Yeah, it was probably 6. The first time he took me to a game, and that would have been at. It might have been the tail end of Yankee Stadium or when they went up to the Yale Bowl. I just don't remember. I remember being at both, but I can be just placing that then. But I certainly started going to games more often when they were in Giant Stadium. But yeah, so that's it. Watching football on TV, and of course the great teams back then, and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, Pittsburgh number one. Watching
that Pittsburgh-Dallas rivalry is probably the strongest memory of any rivalry in football for me.
Absolutely. And I remember, I guess it was after the Raiders won in '77. McDonald's came out with or maybe it was that Super Bowl just prior to it, or just after, I forget. But McDonald's came out with these I guess little tiny like pamphlet like magazines kind of thing, and you walked in. Anytime you bought a Happy Meal or a kids meal or or even maybe it was just any purchase or whatever, I forget. But they gave you these, and it was a description of all of the teams and all of the Super Bowls, and it was pretty cool. And I had those, and wore those out, reading through them over and over again. Starting my useless knowledge bank in my mind of all stats and that. But yeah, those like Harry said, the rivalries back then, Steelers and Cowboys, and of course my bringing up as a Giants fan, hating the Cowboys, so I was rooting for the Steelers at that point.
Sure. Well, yeah, and that's right. That's the 70s is when I, fell in love with America's team. That's my other
Braves.
Because you hated the Steelers because you were a Jets fan. So there you go. Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the same thing. Like watching, I remember about that same time when it was an away game, instead of like playing on the floor in the room where my dad was watching the game,
right?
I would actually start watching the game. So, just a desperate, trying to get attention from my dad.
The other thing,
I'll just like what he likes.
Growing up in the Northeast is for whatever reason, I just have these great memories of the late games because there was usually, some sort of West Coast, game, most likely an AFC West rivalry.
How many times did we watch the Chargers and the Raiders?
How good were those games?
Sure.
And it was just exciting because it seemed like back then it was the complete opposite of,
I was just about to say,
of the early games. The early games would be like 9-7. And then you
the early games you're getting was the Giants and the Jets.
And Dan Fouts and Kenny Stabler going at it. And you're just like, whoa, what the hell's going on?
It was
exactly
power running with an occasional pass. And then the late game was like with the run and shoot,
It's like the equivalent of the
like
Harlem
offense.
Globetrotters playing
600
football.
yards of offense.
That's right.
Air Coryell.
Yeah. But, So
there you go. All right, cool. All right. Well, that'll bring us, that'll segue right into our top 10 list. Our top 10 list tonight is top 10 New England Patriots of all time. You couldn't tell from the jersey that I was wearing.
Yeah. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Top 10 New England Patriots of all time. Fun fact, other than the fact that I'm wearing a Brady jersey. Fun fact, the cap I'm wearing I actually bought at Gillette Stadium. So there you go. So little fun fact. Not that anybody cares, but anyway. So, all right. Yeah, top 10 New England Patriots of all time. All right. Let's start this out with, hold on, I got to pull this up right here. Let's start with number 10. We have, in true Get On With It sports podcast fashion, we have 13 for our top 10. We have a tie at 10, a tie at 8, and a tie at 7.
You just kind of have to knock some people off.
There you go. So
got to have a wild card.
We can do that too. We actually, and our list actually was longer. We actually had 5 players on our list that did not make the cut. So they were all down. So all right. So our tie at number 10, our first number 10 is Mr. Bruce Armstrong, Bruce Charles Armstrong. He was drafted out of Louisville in 1987 with the 23rd pick in the first round. Played his entire career for the Patriots, 1987 through the year 2000. 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time second-team All-Pro. New England Patriots number 78 is retired. Played offensive tackle. I did forget to mention that. Sorry about that. He played in every game he started. He started every game he played, I should say.
He played in every game he started.
He did both.
He even played in a few games that he didn't start.
He played in the ones he started in. He started in the ones he played.
Never played in the games he didn't play in.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So he started every game he played, 212, and he recovered 9 fumbles too. There's a stat for you. So Bruce Armstrong, Bruce Charles Armstrong. There you go, guys.
I think he's the 13th best Patriot.
It would make sense. Sure, absolutely. So,
yeah.
There you go. Everybody concurs.
Yeah. I don't know. Am I the only one that had him on the list?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know. He was just great every year.
There you go.
I mean, you look at those teams and, they didn't have the most mobile quarterbacks for a number of those years. And he protected the blind side pretty damn well.
He did. There you go. All right, number 10, tied for number 10, Mr. Bruce Armstrong. All right, also tied for number 10, Mr. Vince Wilfork. Let's see, Vincent Lamar Wilfork. He was drafted out of Miami, nose tackle, by the way. You don't see very many nose tackles much anymore, the way what defensive schemes. But drafted out of Miami.
Snacks,
right. Drafted out of Miami, I'm sorry. First round, 21st pick overall. Played the bulk of his career, 2004 to 2014 with the Patriots. And, of course, he finished his career with the Texans for a couple years. And he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Pats. And first-team All-Pro in 2012. 3-time second-team All-Pro. 5-time Pro Bowler. And, 561 tackles in his career. 16 sacks. 3 interceptions, 26 pass deflections, 4 forced fumbles, and 12 recovered fumbles. There you go. Vincent Lamar Wilfork, tied for number 10 on our list tonight. Guys, anything?
one of the best nose tackles of all time. I mean, he looks like a nose tackle.
Oh, he's definitely a nose tackle.
Yeah.
I think that was his, in high school, he was, guidance counselor told him you need to play nose tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't even playing football at the time. So
No.
Yeah, so.
He was his ballet career was booming at that point.
Knitting and home ec, right? Exactly. So.
Yeah, I mean, he was certainly a big part of that. Those, was because he won. Didn't he win 2 or 3 Super Bowls?
2, yeah, he won 2 with them.
Yeah.
He
was
came
a big
in.
part of that,
He came in
and-
after the first one.
That's
and
right.
Then won the
That's
second,
right.
the third with them. So
Yeah. I mean, again, one of those picks. The Patriots were pretty good at getting these drafting defensive players back then, and he was a big part of those teams. And certainly, it's not the most, especially at that time. It wasn't one of the more. If you're a nose tackle and you're getting attention for something good, then you're really standing out because
right.
the game, even when he was a nose tackle, was sort of shifting away from that position quite a bit.
Yeah, if anyone outside of your fan base knows your name,
Right.
then you must be doing, unless it's, for beating up a hooker or something like that. But if it's stuff that's on the field,
Right.
you're doing something pretty extraordinary to get
You were.
noticed. As a
He
nose tackle.
beat up centers instead of hookers.
This is
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
This is true.
What he was paid for.
I misspoke, by the way. He actually he won the Super Bowl. I believe it's his first year with the Patriots and his last year with the Patriots. So
Oh, okay.
he came in after they won 2, and then he came in, played one in that one, and then he went.
He lost
the
two
last,
as well, right?
and he lost 2. Yes, he did lose 2. Who did he lose them to?
Little team from downstream.
There you go. Team from down
Little
there.
team on the Amtrak stop that's a couple stops down.
There you go. So
Yeah.
anyway, tied for number 10, Vince Wilfork. All right. That brings us to number 9. Number 9 tonight is Mr. Adam Vinatieri. Adam Matthew Vinatieri, to be exact. He went undrafted in 1996. You think about that. People draft, teams draft place kickers, but they didn't draft Adam Vinatieri, one of the better ones of all time. The man won 4
It wasn't
Super Bowls.
uncommon for place kickers to go undrafted, though.
It wasn't, but you would think this one would
Yeah.
have been drafted. So
He turned out to be okay.
turned out like
He was the Vince
worked out.
Wolfork of
He was a
place
Vince
kickers.
Wilfork of his time, yeah, absolutely. So, anyway, he was on the Pats for his entire career up to 2005, and then he went to the Colts and played even more seasons with them. 96 to 05 with the Pats, and 06 to 2019, just a couple of years ago, with the Colts.
He won one with the Colts, right?
He won one with the Colts. He won 4 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowls with the Pats. Went to the Colts and won a Super Bowl. First year with the Colts, he won a Super
That's
Bowl.
right. That's right.
So,
He was the
3-time
missing ingredient.
He was. There you go.
Kind of was in a lot of ways.
Sure. 3-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler, NFL 2000s All-Decade Team, member of the 100th anniversary team. He's a member of the Patriots 50th anniversary team. Here's some NFL records for the man. Most consecutive field goals made, 44. Most combined regular season and postseason games played, 397. Most career field goals made, 599. Most career field goal attempts, 715. And most career points, 2,673. So it was 599 for 715. It's an 83.8% field goal percentage. Longest field goal is 57 yards. So there you go. Adam Matthew Vinatieri, number 9 on our list tonight.
Where was he? Do you remember where he was on our
Kickers?
Yeah.
He was on there.
He was
I think it was
like
4,
2.
maybe 2, 4, or
Yeah.
3. He was on the top half of the list. He definitely was up there.
I think if had he not,
I think
gone
Joe
to-
Danello was number 1 on our
That's
list.
right. Had he not, who was the kicker that came into the Patriots after him? He was also really good.
Steve Gostkowski.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I kind of thought about putting him on this list, even though I can't remember his name.
That guy,
That
number
guy.
9.
The other guy, the other kicker.
The other kicker.
The other kicker's name ends in an I. I don't think Vinatieri's records, I don't think he would have, because let's face it, he went to the Colts, who were a much more high-powered offensive team than the Patriots, especially those first couple of years he was there.
Sure.
But I do think if he stayed on the Pats, his legacy would be even greater. I think he'd be higher on this list for me if he stuck around.
Sure.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, we would have won 6 Super Bowls instead of 4, and I mean, he would have been there the whole time with Brady.
I thought it was
a longer than Brady.
I thought it was a strange move when he left.
Yeah, it was odd. It was strange. But I mean, that was textbook Patriots, though, right?
Right.
I mean, they used the guy until they didn't want to pay him anymore, and
He
then they moved
wanted
on to
to
the next
leave,
guy.
though. It wasn't about money with him. He wanted to leave.
He
for
wanted to
some
get out of
reason.
there.
Yeah.
Interesting. So there you go. All right,
I
number
guess
9.
he said, I have enough Super Bowl rings.
He's like, yeah, let me go somewhere else and try and win another.
I want to go to Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Peyton Manning was
Well,
a
there you
pretty
go.
big draw.
After the 2005 season, the Patriots chose not to place the franchise tag on Vinatieri as they had the year before, allowing him to become a free agent.
Yeah.
He visited with the Green Bay Packers, but was set on signing with either a warm weather climate team or a team that played their home games in a dome.
Right,
So there
okay.
you go.
So he's tired of kicking in the goddamn
He's tired
snow.
of kicking in the snow. So there you go. So all right.
He's tired of having everybody yell at him. Dirty below weather.
All right. Could yell at him in 80-degree weather. So.
Yeah.
All right. Number 9, Adam Vinatieri. All right. Moving on to number 8. We have a tie at 8, two-player tie for 8. Number 8. The first number 8 is Mr. Wes Welker. That would be Wesley Carter Welker. He was drafted he went undrafted, out of Texas Tech in 2004. Played a year with the Chargers. Played 2 years with the Dolphins. 2.5 years with the Dolphins. And then he played for the Patriots from 2007 to 2012. Went out to Denver for a couple of years and finished his career with the Rams. Their last year back in St. Louis, I believe, too. But, his years with the Patriots obviously were the most productive, if you will. He's also a coach, too. He was offensive assistant, special teams assistant with the Houston Texans. And presently, he's the wide receivers coach in San Francisco.
And the trash can operator in Houston.
And the trash can operator in Houston. So.
He fits inside real nice.
Exactly. 2-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time NFL receptions leader, and Pro Football Writers of America All-Rookie team in 2004. And he holds a record, longest receiving touchdown, 99 yards. Of course, he's tied with several other people. But 99 yards. And then, 903 receptions, 9,924 receiving yards, and 50 receiving touchdowns. And he's got 6,722 return yards as well. Wesley Carter Welker, tied for number 8. Gentlemen.
He would have been nothing without Brady.
Well, he was that quintessential, like you said, undrafted guy that I think Belichick found at the Dunkin' Donuts. Just they had 7 of these guys. Now that doesn't mean that they're not all great. They were, but.
And what's weird is they took him in later years and they changed his face. They put different hair on him and changed his name to Julian Edelman.
That's what I'm saying. How many Wes Welkers have they had?
Right.
I mean, they were all these guys who nobody else wanted, who were all undersized, too slow, or too something or other.
Right.
And on that Patriots team, they turned into superstars. And the reason why is they were not afraid to go across the middle and catch a 7-yard pass and turn it into 12 yards.
Right.
They were. Both him and Edelman were great at that. Sure. And, look, they were part of a team that certainly knew how to use them. And they were part of a team that maybe would be the only team to give them a shot to play in earlier in their career, but they made the most of it. And they're sort of quintessentially Patriots.
Right.
Yeah, they were tiny. They were hard to keep track of.
Right.
And tough as shit.
And even when they were having great seasons, you still would kind of look at him and go, "He can't really be that good, can he?"
Yeah.
Right.
It's just it never ceased to amaze or at least surprise. Wow, he's having another great year.
And they went to other teams and weren't that good. So I mean,
no, they found the right place.
Right.
They were really good. They were given the opportunity and made the most of it. I don't think you could say that about anybody more than Wes Welker. I mean, come on.
That's true. Yeah.
He was in the right system.
He's the Adam Vinatieri and Vince Wilfork of undrafted, undersized receivers.
And his time with the Patriots, he actually went to 2 Super Bowls, but didn't win either of them. So.
That's true. He didn't win. Edelman won 3, right?
What's that? Edelman won 3. Yeah. Wes Welker won none. So there you go. Tied for number 8, Mr. Wes Welker. Also, number 8, tied with Wes Welker, is Mr. Richard Seymour. Richard Vershawn Seymour, to be exact. He was drafted in the first round, pick number 6 overall, out of Georgia by the Patriots in 2001. Played from 01 to 08 with the Pats. Then he played a few years with the Raiders after that as well. Defensive tackle, by the way. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Pats, obviously. 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro. 2-time second-team All-Pro. He's on the New England Patriots 50th anniversary team, the All-2000s team, and he's in the Patriots Hall of Fame. He's on the NFL's 2000s All-Decade team, and he had 496 tackles in his career, 57.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. Richard Vershawn Seymour, tied for number 8 on our list. Guys? Nothing?
I think a guy who goes forgotten a little bit, but was certainly an impact player and maybe somebody who was, I think, at the forefront of where that position was going in a lot of ways. When he was there, they were a defensive team, that's for sure, and he was certainly one of those key guys on there. I'm not sure. Again, he's one of those guys that I think it's hard to judge somewhat due to the length of his career. And the fact that I think he goes a little lost, it gets a little lost in the mix, but shouldn't.
No.
Because he was pretty impressive.
He was.
Yeah, it's definitely a name that and you go, he was pretty good. And then you kind of do a dive into his stats and look at what he really was all about. And you go, wow, this guy was really good. Mm-hmm. And, listen, what did he play? 11 years or whatever altogether.
12 years altogether.
12 years. That's a good career.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
8 with the Pats and 4 with the Raiders.
Yeah, I knew he went to
Oakland after. Well, Vegas now.
But quiet, underrated, not as well known as, wasn't flashy, didn't get in any trouble.
Nope.
Kind of reminded me of a more athletic Richard Dent.
Okay.
I don't know why, but that's who he kind of reminded me of.
Yeah, I could see that. So there you go. Tied for number 8, Mr. Richard Seymour. All right. Now we got a 2-way tie at 7. Our first number 7, our first Mr. 7.
Mr.
7. 2
7.
Mr. 7s tonight.
Mr. 7, part 1.
Mr. 7A tonight is Mr. Ty Law.
This guy was pretty good, too.
Taiwan Ernest Law.
And the shortest name in football history.
Shortest name in football history, Ty Law. 5 letters, 2 names.
He's the Mel Ott of
the
NFL.
He's even shorter than Mel Ott.
Shorter than Mel Ott.
Shorter, but
by a year. By a
letter. by one consonant. They both said the same amount of vowels, if you count Y.
He was drafted in 95 in round number 1 with the 23rd pick in the draft out of Michigan. By the Pats, cornerback out of Michigan. He was on the Patriots for 10 seasons, 95 to 2004. And then he went to the Jets for a season.
He did.
Then he went to the Chiefs for a couple of years. Then he went back to the Jets for another season. And then finished up in Denver. So there you go. But 3-time Super Bowl champ with the Pats, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL interceptions leader. I should point out that one of the 5 years he was a Pro Bowler was when he was with the Jets, too.
He was good everywhere he went.
He was.
I think he had the most interceptions in a single season that he had with the Jets, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Remember the 2000 NFL All Decades team? I said two-time NFL interceptions leader. I said that, yeah. Remember the Patriots Hall of Fame, member of the Patriots All 90s team, Patriots All 2000s team, and he is in Cooperstown. I said that again, and I said that intentionally. Like I'm an idiot. Canton. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Mr. 7 goes to Cooperstown. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he plays football or basketball. He's going to Cooperstown. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. He's I think the first one so far on his list is actually that's in Canton. 838 tackles, 169 pass deflections, 53 interceptions, 7 touchdowns, only 5 sacks. But that would be a corner blitz, obviously, if he had a sack. So
he only blitzed 6 times.
He only blitzed 6 teams and got 5 sacks. 6 teams, 6 times. I can talk tonight. There you go. Taiwan Ernest Law, Ty Law, for our first Mr. 7, Mr. 7A. Guys?
I mean, one of the best at his position ever, arguably maybe the best.
Yeah, 53 interceptions, nothing to sneeze at.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
And I don't know how I missed him on my list.
Well, if he was on your list, he would have just been a little higher. He wouldn't have been Mr. 7A if he was on your list.
Yeah,
so
true. I wanted him to be on the list, but he didn't make it. But anyway.
Yes, and Ty Law, not to be confused with Ty Lawson.
No. Yeah.
Or L.A. Law.
Or LA
and
Law.
a really cool name, too.
Yeah.
Ty Law.
Ty Law.
So, not only short, but excellent.
There you go.
Ty Law.
Ty Law.
He was the law.
He was. All right.
All right, number 7A.
Mr. 7A, Ty Law. All right, Mr. 7B is Troy Brown. Same amount of syllables, a lot more consonants. Sorry, I had to go there. Troy Brown, he was a wide receiver for the Patriots. He was drafted in 1993 in the 8th round, pick 198 overall.
Yeah.
He was drafted by the Pats. Played his entire career with the Pats, 93 through 07. And he remains with the Patriots organization. He is he was a running back and kick returners coach in 2020 last year, and he's the wide receivers and kick returners coach presently. 3-time Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowler in 2001. He's in the Patriots Hall of Fame. He's a member of the Patriots 50th anniversary team and the Patriots all 2000s decade team. 557 receptions, 6,366 yards, 31 touchdowns, 4,487 return yards as well, and 3 return TDs. There you go. And 3 interceptions, ironically. I'm curious as to how he got 3 interceptions.
Was it Hail Mary, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe put him out on the Hail Mary squad or something.
Yeah,
like that,
something like that.
Could have been that. So there you go. Troy Brown, number 7, Mr. 7B tonight, guys.
Yeah, I mean he wasn't flashy, and you look at his numbers and you go, those are okay numbers. I don't know, but he was just consistent. He was tough as nails, and he was just reliable. He was just a guy that was always there, almost always made the catch. You could say, well, he wasn't great, but to me, his greatness was his consistency I missed a handful of games over a how many year career? 14-year career?
15 year. 14,
missed just a
career.
A few games here and there, but he was just out there, just a stalwart of
he played
those New England teams.
He played a little cornerback. That's how he got 3 interceptions.
Oh, okay. He did play a little cornerback.
Play a little cornerback.
Yeah, he sort of developed a little slowly, but he became Brady's go-to target. I mean, his breakout year was the year that they both, won their first Super Bowl.
Sure.
And he was that sort of, he was Brady's go-to guy. It wasn't a spectacular go-to guy, but he was one of those receivers when it was, 3rd and 6, he would get 6.5. And he would make a spectacular catch from a great throw.
Sure.
And it just seemed like they did it every time they needed to do it. And
I mean, he never led the league in catches.
No.
He never led the league in yards or anything like that. Just consistent quality.
Yeah. And a lot of those catches that he made they were in traffic again, tough spot receptions. And he was great at doing what he did.
Mm-hmm.
He was also a pretty good return guy. I think he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns on the return side, kick returns. So punt returns. So he was a pretty versatile player, that's for sure.
He did a lot of different things.
Yeah,
obviously.
He
cornerback, return, and receiver.
Mm-hmm. And he also went to 5 Super Bowls as well.
Right,
won 3 of them, but the 2 that he lost, one was his last year with the team was with the Giants. The first one he lost was when Parcells was coaching him.
Right,
in
Drew Bledsoe
in the 90s with Drew Bledsoe, and they lost to the Packers.
Parcells cut him, I think, that year, and then he re-signed him after the year started, the season started. Right. Yeah, he just, I think it was fortuitous. I think Brady saw something in him that maybe other quarterbacks and other coaches didn't necessarily see, and they became the duo for until later on when he had Randy Moss. I mean, Troy Brown was his go-to guy.
This is true.
I think he has one really great stat is 1997. 1 rush for minus 18 yards.
That's right. It was probably an end around that never got around.
I don't know.
And he tried to go around and around and around and kept going backwards.
Minus 18. That's a lot of yards to lose on a carry. But
that's right. That's Van Tarkenton territory,
pretty much.
And then he didn't touch the ball in that capacity for like the next 2 seasons.
That's it.
Right.
That's right. Didn't happen again.
So.
There you go. Right. Mr. 7B tonight, Mr. Troy Fitzgerald Brown. There you go. All right. And gets us to the top 6. Number 6 on our list tonight is Mr. Stanley Morgan.
Stanley Morgan.
Stanley Douglas Morgan, to be exact. Wide receiver.
That's where I do all my banking.
There you go. Morgan Stanley. Stanley Morgan. Get it straight. Stanley Douglas Morgan. Wide receiver for the Pats. He was drafted by the Patriots in 1977, actually. Round 1, 25th pick overall. He played 13 seasons with the Patriots from 77 to 89. And then he played a year on the Colts in 1990. And he was on the practice squad of the Broncos in 92. But that was about it. 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time second-team All-Pro. NFL receiving touchdowns leader in 1979. And he's in the New England Patriots Hall of Fame. He's got an NFL record, though. He has, for his career, he has 19.2 yards per reception. He's got 557 receptions for 10,716 yards. So that's an average of 19.2 yards per reception. That's an NFL record to this day, and that was a long time. His career has been over for 30-plus years.
Yeah.
So.
4-time Pro Bowler.
4-time Pro Bowler, yeah. 72 touchdowns. There you go. So, Stanley Douglas Morgan, not to be confused with Morgan Stanley. Number 6 on our list tonight.
I think he had about roughly the same number of catches as Troy Brown and about 4,000 more yards.
Yeah, he was more of a downfield.
Right.
I mean, back in those days, the Patriots had a pretty good passing game with, what was it, Steve Grogan and Stanley Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, I think it was 80. Let me see. I got 83. His average was 14.9.
That's like almost like today's averages.
That was his lowest year.
Yeah.
He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons over 20. 3 of which he was league leader. But
for some reason, as a kid, I got this tote bag, New England Patriots tote bag, and it had the logo on one side. On the other side, it had three pictures of 3 players, and it was Stanley Morgan, Steve Grogan, and John Hanna.
There you go. There you go.
That's a pretty good trio.
And when 2 of them make a list, well, maybe 2 of them make a list. We'll have to see. So many years later.
I wonder which of the other 2.
We know Steve
Grogan's number one. Steve Grogan's number 1. I mean, come on.
1B.
Steve Grogan was a pretty good quarterback.
He was.
Plus, what a great name.
Yeah.
Steve Grogan.
Steve Grogan. So there you go. All right. Anyway, Mr. Stanley Morgan, Stanley Douglas Morgan, is number 6 on our list tonight. That brings us to number 5. It's going to be Mike Haynes. Mike
Haynes.
Michael James Haynes. He was drafted in 1976, round number 1, pick number 5 overall, out of Arizona State as a cornerback with the New England Patriots. They played from 1976 to 1982 with the Pats, and they played 83 to 89 with the Raiders. And that just means he did win a Super Bowl, not with the Pats, obviously with the Raiders, but he was a 9-time Pro Bowler, and pretty much every year he was with the Patriots, he was a Pro Bowler, and then a bunch, obviously, with the Raiders as well. 2-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time second-team All-Pro. He's Defensive Player of the Year in 1984, Defensive Rookie of the Year in 76. He's the AFC Rookie of the Year in 76 as well. Member of the NFL 75th Anniversary Team, member of the NFL 100th Anniversary Team, the 1980s All-Decade Team. His number 40 is retired with the Patriots, and he's in the Patriots Hall of Fame. He does have 46 interceptions and 688 interception return yards with a total of 5 touchdowns as well. He's in Canton, Ohio, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Michael James Haynes, number 5 on our list tonight. Guys?
One of the best ever.
Yeah.
He changed the position in a lot of ways. And again, a guy, only played part of his career with the Patriots, but was great everywhere he went.
Yeah, it's probably better known to the nation as part of the Raiders. Haynes and Hayes, right? That team,
right.
And those great
Stickum and
epic battles that they had against,
sure,
those teams. And
he had a 14-year career, half with the Pats and half with the Raiders. So
yeah, but I mean, he was right. You're absolutely right. He was great wherever he went, pretty much right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Sure. So
there you go.
And this, I like this too. 11 fumbles and 12 fumble recoveries.
Mm-hmm. So he got his own fumbles back and others.
And one other. Yeah.
And one other. Yeah. So, maybe.
That's why they started using Stickum.
Right.
Yeah, he was kind of one of the guys that got that stuff banned, right?
Oh yeah, him and Lester Hayes.
Yeah.
Lester Hayes. They were both
Mike
Hayes.
Yeah.
Haynes
Mike
and Hayes. There's only one
Hayes.
letter to separate them.
Right.
But Lester, Mike used it too, but Lester had it all over him.
Yeah.
He weighed 198 without the Stickum. He was 175.
You ever see that? You ever seen the movie The Replacements? Right,
Yeah.
when they put the Stickum on whatchamacallit, the one receiver's hands.
Yeah.
That was pretty much Lester Hayes right there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, one time they threw the ball to him. His hands were down by his side, but it stuck to his shirt, and it counted as an interception. That's when they were like, maybe we need to reconsider this.
Yeah, exactly. So,
you could always tell when he had pass interference because the guy's number was stuck to his hand.
Exactly. All right. So number 5 on our list tonight, Mike Haynes. There we go. All right. Brings us to number 4. Number 4 on our list tonight is Mr. Andre Tippett.
Andre Tippett.
Andre Bernard Tippett, to be exact. Drafted in the second round, linebacker for the Pats. Drafted in the second round of 1982 draft. Pick number 41 overall by the Pats out of Iowa. Actually played his high school career. Went to Barringer High School in Newark, New Jersey. Graduated from there. But Iowa drafted... was a college he drafted out of. Played his entire career with the Patriots. Played a 12-year career with the Pats from 82 to 93. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro. He was the NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 85. Remember the 100 Sacks Club. 85 is the year they went to the Super Bowl, too, and lost to the Bears. AFC Player of the Year in 85, same year. Remember the NFL 1980s All-Decade Team. He's in the Patriots Hall of Fame, and he is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, too. 100 sacks to his career, even, and 1 interception. Played in 151 games. There you go. Andre Tippett, number 4 on our list tonight. Guys?
I think he's part of that era of linebackers that just changed football. I mean, obviously, everybody thinks about Lawrence Taylor and what's his name from the Kansas City Chiefs. But Andre Tippett's right there with these guys. I mean, when you think about the caliber of linebackers that were around in the mid 80s, It's kind of mind-boggling.
Sure.
I mean, sure, the game has changed, and there's not as much need to be a linebacker these days, or at least a conventional linebacker. But he was one of the better ones, and I think he's certainly the best linebacker to ever play for the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, probably if the Patriots had, won a Super Bowl during his time or something like that, a lot more people would know his name. He kind of toiled in relative obscurity, but
he was a play. I mean, but wasn't he like? He was like an MVP or something of the league one year, wasn't he? Or something.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of crazy when you think about it for a defensive player. He was a pretty big impact guy, especially early in his career. And, like John said, they were good, but they just didn't, they sort of fell.
Well, unfortunately for them, they came up in the Super Bowl that year, up in '85, upon
against
a Bears
the best,
team. That
best
was
team.
Yeah.
Who was beating the Bears that year?
Yeah.
So, but any other year, they had as good a shot as anybody else.
Yep.
It wasn't the right year for them to be there in that position.
No.
That's all.
And I believe he's the only guy named Tippett who ever played in the NFL.
I believe you're right.
I think so.
I believe you're right. So there you go.
At least with 2 P's.
Right, exactly.
Oh, and you're actually
And an E.
You're missing a T. There's 2 T's at the end.
2 T's, 2 P's.
2 P. No, it's 2 P's, 3 T's.
Well, 3 if you count the first one.
If you count the first one. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, number 4.
Probably the only player with 2 P's and 3 T's in his last name in the NFL too.
Crossed his I's
Very
and dotted
true.
his T's.
There you go. All right, crossed his T's and dotted his I's. All right, number 4 on our list tonight, Mr. Andre Bernard Tippett. There you go. Brings us to number 3. Number 3 is Gronk. Mr. Robert James Gronkowski, better known as, obviously, Gronk. Tight end for the New England Patriots. Drafted out of Arizona in the 2010 draft in the second round, pick number 42. Played 9 seasons with the New England Patriots. And then he has been a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers since, and as everybody is aware of. 4-time Super Bowl champion. 3 with the Pats, 1 with the Bucs. NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 2000.
So far.
So far, yeah, and counting. NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 2014. 4-time First-Team All-Pro. 5-time Pro Bowler. NFL Receiving Touchdowns Leader in 2011. It's member of the 2010 All-Decades team. Member of the NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time team. First team and a couple of college awards, too. He's got 3 NFL records. Most touchdowns in a season by a tight end, and that would be 17. Most career touchdowns in the postseason by a tight end, that would be 14. And most total touchdowns in a season by a tight end, that would be 18. And there you go. And those stats are these stats, I should say, are as of week 3 of 2021 this year. And they are 582 receptions for 8,669 yards and 90 receiving touchdowns. Rob Gronkowski, number 3 on our list.
90.
Yeah.
Stanley Morgan at 72.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's underrated, to be honest with you. I think when it's all said and done, people step back and see what Gronk had to deal with injury-wise, and the fact that he has this numbers after taking off 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certainly never been anybody like him. I mean, has the athleticism of some of these new tight ends that you saw, the Jimmy Grahams of the world, but he has the physicality of the old school guys like the Mark Bavaros, and was much better than both. And for a long period of time, was the only target that Brady had for a long time.
Exactly.
And for all of Gronkowski's accomplishments, the one thing that stands out to me is the fact that he almost hauled in that Hail Mary catch in the Super Bowl against the Giants.
He was close.
That would have just changed everything. I felt like he had one leg. He had a brace holding his arm to his rib cage. He had 7 pads on his. It just felt like he was barely able to limp down the field, but they threw him out there, and he almost caught it with 9 defenders on him.
Yeah.
He's Gronk. I hope he stays healthy, and I hope he's able to win a couple more rings, because I think that's going to seal his fate. I mean, you could talk about the numbers that some of these other tight ends have put up over the years, but nobody has put up the numbers and taken the punishment that he has. I feel like he put himself, he always put his body in harm's way to sacrifice way more than a lot of other people did. And I think, obviously it's taken its toll. Yep. Maybe he just needs to take 2 years off every 4 years and he'll be okay.
He could play until he's 44.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
he's a machine.
Crazy good when you look at his numbers.
Yeah,
I think when we did our top tight ends, I was certainly surprised.
He was up there too, yeah.
Yeah, he was way up there. Look, he's certainly early on, a lot of his antics overshadowed things that he did on the field.
Right.
For a lot of people outside of, maybe the division or certainly outside of the New England area. And he was Gronk and he was an idiot and he was a nut job or whatever. But he really, I think he just hit the nail on the head. He was this hybrid of, guys that were almost wide receivers as tight ends, and guys like Bavaro who were just big and would carry the team. And listen, I think one of the reasons that we have that guys like Wes Welker and those other receivers had the success that they had is because there was a Gronk to throw to.
Oh yeah, Wes Welker wasn't getting double teamed.
Right. Now Gronkowski, and that was the thing about Gronk was everybody knew what was happening, but we know where the ball was going. It was still, and he still got there, and he still made the catch. I mean, he's just, and I kind of like him now. He seems really goofy, and
I've always liked him. I've always thought he was I
had to hate him as a player, but
when you saw him play, you realize this guy is the first of his kind and maybe the last of his kind.
Yeah, he really is. He really is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want to be Rob Gronkowski? I mean, his antics. He was on a team that wasn't allowed to have any fun. And he was so good that Belichick was just like, he's Gronk. Let him have his fun.
Yeah.
It's just, he was Gronk. I mean, I think the whole thing, people saying he's stupid and everything else, I don't think he won any awards for his, dissertation in Arizona, but
no, he's not a Rhodes Scholar.
He certainly knows football.
I think it was easy, especially if you were not a New England fan,
right,
to hate him because he was so good and to play up all of that. Oh, he's just a big doofus and he's a partier all the time and blah blah. But you couldn't get past what he was doing on the field.
True story.
Pretty talented doofus.
Yeah.
Number three.
Maybe maybe that should be one of our lists.
Top 10
he would
doofuses.
probably be number one top 10 talented.
He was a systems doofus.
I think he invented the system, actually.
I think he did.
The system was just
system of doofus.
Stand out there. We're going to throw it somewhere near you, and 8 guys are going to hit you all at once.
Go get it. Fetch. There you go. All right, number 3 on our top 10 doofuses tonight.
It's like a scarecrow.
Number 3 on our list tonight, Mr. Robert James Gronkowski. All right. That brings us to number 2. 2 left on this list. Number 2, going old school, Mr. John Hanna. Going back, way back to Mr. John Allen Hanna. Nickname Hog. He was Hog. He was drafted in 1973 with the 4th pick overall in the first round by the Patriots. He played 13 seasons with the Pats from 73 to 85. Offensive guard, by the way. He was a guard. 7-time first-team All-Pro. 3-time second-team All-Pro. 9-time Pro Bowler. NFL 1970s All-Decade Team. NFL 1980s All-Decade Team. NFL 75th Anniversary All-Time Team. NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time Team. His number 73 is retired by the Patriots. He's in the New England Patriots Hall of Fame. Played in 83 games, started 183 games, recovered 10 fumbles, and he also appeared on Harry's tote bag. So,
and I think he's, when you talk about the best offensive lineman of all time, he's, if there's a Mount Rushmore of offensive linemen, he's on.
John Hanna's in it, absolutely. And he did go to a Super Bowl. So at the last
85, right?
He retired after that Super Bowl, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how many.
He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame too. In
I see. Well, he should be.
Yeah, I don't know how many of these lists for these teams. We'll see how many of these over the course of however many of them we do end up with a offensive lineman at number 2. I
A
don't think
guard,
it's gonna be,
nonetheless, right?
yeah, I don't
Guard,
think it's
yeah.
going to be too many. I mean, that's the least sexy, least glamorous position there is. And
Sure.
Hannah was, I mean, he's a prototype.
He was so good that NFL Films would run highlight films of him every once in a while. And so, how you do previews. Well, the Patriots really didn't have anybody else at the time who was a big star. I mean, they would show clips of John Hannah steamrolling people. I mean, it was unbelievable.
He in 1991 he was the inaugural inductee into the New England Patriots Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And in 1999, the Sporting News ranked him as the second greatest offensive lineman in NFL history after Anthony Munoz.
Anthony Munoz. Yeah.
So there you go.
Not bad.
And if I recall, he was an old Balls recipient way back.
He was.
Way back in the day.
And I'll tell you what, I think, and I'm not mistaken, I think Anthony Munoz, said something to the effect I might be number 1, but there's another number 1.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Munoz changed the position. I think John Hannah was just one of those guys who there was a lot of other guys who tried to do exactly what he did.
Sure.
But he was really athletic, and they were one of the first teams to really use the guard to kind of lead, on sweeps and things like that, in the manner that they did. It started to, the old school kind of traps were more inside. They weren't as long. They didn't make the offensive lineman run as far. But with John Hannah, they kind of extended it out a lot because he was so athletic and able to get downfield and make open field blocks, which is not easy to do.
No, not at all. And he did play in college. He played in Alabama. He played for Alabama. He played under Bear Bryant,
right,
for his college career. So
pretty quiet guy, pretty conservative guy. Doesn't never really wanted the spotlight, but that says even more to the fact that he's number 2 on this list. With the fact that most casual football fans don't even know who he is.
Exactly,
Yeah.
That's for sure. All right.
I don't know if he was an unwilling face of the team, but certainly he was not a self-promoting kind of face of the team. He was on that tote bag, and it wasn't because he was, hugely flamboyant or outspoken or whatever, or anything like that.
Yeah, it wasn't his matinee idol looks.
No, it was not.
Exactly.
It wasn't his diamond-studded grill and gold chains that got the attention. It
wasn't the hose he was driving around in his Mercedes.
Yeah, not so much. There you go. All right. Number 2 on our list tonight, Mr. John Allen Hannah.
I wonder who's number 1.
Number 1 is Mr. Steve Grogan.
Steve Grogan.
Which I disagree with. Bledsoe is better than Grogan.
Oh, no.
Who was Bledsoe?
You know what? The best Patriots. I mean, Doug Flutie. How can you not put Doug Flutie there?
Yeah.
Gotta say that.
All right.
We all know it's Mr. Tom Brady. Tom Brady.
I'm telling you, this guy's going to be something someday. I saw him last week. He's going to be something. Thomas
Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
He's going to win a Super Bowl one day.
I think he might get a title.
Or 7.
All right, let's look through this stats. Okay, he's a quarterback, obviously,
God.
still active with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think I hear my wife calling me.
He was drafted in the 6th round, the 199th pick overall in the 2000 draft by the Patriots. He played 20 seasons for the Patriots, and he's in his 2nd season with the Buccaneers. He's 196 years old, and he looks like he's 14. But that's besides the point. All right, let's go through some of his stats here because it might take an hour or two to get through them. Here we go. We're going to start with this one. 7-time Super Bowl champion.
That's the only stat you need to go.
That's it. Done. 5-time Super Bowl MVP. 5-time Super Bowl MVP. I'm going to venture to say that the first one of those probably won't ever be broken. But the second one, the 5-time Super Bowl MVP, will never be broken.
Never say never. Patrick Mahomes is pretty young.
This is true, too. This is very true. 3-time NFL MVP, 3-time NFL Top 100 player, number 1 player, 2-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year, NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 2009, 3-time First-Team All-Pro, 2-time Second-Team All-Pro, 14-time Pro Bowler, 4-time NFL Passing Touchdowns Leader, 3-time NFL Passing Yards Leader, 2-time NFL Passer Rating Leader, NFL completion percentage leader in 2007. That would be the year they went undefeated in the regular season, but didn't win the Super Bowl. NFL 2000s All-Decade Team, sorry. Unanimous NFL 2010s All-Decade Team. Unanimous NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time Team. He won the Burt Bell Award in 2007. Male Athlete of the Year Award in 2007. Sportsman of the Year Award from Sports Illustrated in 2005. 5-time AFC Offensive Player of the Year. He was a national champion in college. And here's his NFL records. Here we go. Most career wins. Most career touchdown passes. Most career passing yards. Most career passing attempts. Longest touchdown pass, tied, obviously, 99 yards. And best touchdown to interception ratio in a season, 28-2. His career NFL stats are 10,865 65 passing attempts, 6,961 passing completions, 61.4 completion percentage, 602 TDs to 194 interceptions, 81,268 passing yards, a career passer rating of 97.5. Rushing yards, 1,080. Last I checked, he really wasn't a mobile quarterback. He's got 1,080 rushing yards. And 26 rushing touchdowns. Of course, that has to do with the fact that he's playing his 22nd year. But in any event.
He's the best ever. He's not only the best quarterback ever, he's going to go down as the best football player ever.
There you go. So, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., number 1 on our list tonight. Anything else you guys want to say about him?
Astros beat the Braves 7-2.
They went back to the metal can.
There you go.
Yeah. But Brady's,
he's a systems quarterback. He's nothing without Belichick. He's
right.
lucky to have Wes Welker and Edelman.
Yeah, I mean, last year was obviously a fluke.
It was a fluke.
It was the defense that won the Super Bowl.
The
For them,
defense that
not
won the
him.
Super Bowl.
Well, we see what Kansas City's doing right now, right?
Yeah.
And so it probably started in February, right? So
Well, yeah, they've never been the same since.
Right. Exactly.
Listen, whatever. It's not. Look, it's not like the Jets and the Patriots are always fighting it out for the division title or anything like that. So
no, they never were.
No, they never were. So
maybe back in '98.
Well,
hold on. There are 2 years when the Jets did win the division title during the Brady era. So
right.
With one with Parcells, right?
No.
What was the year that they won with Parcells? That they went to the AFC Championship game. Didn't they go
that
to
would
the
be
AFC
99.
99. Okay, that was before Brady.
That was before Brady. That was a year before Brady.
Yeah.
But being a Jets fan, I will just say this: I'm always, no matter who they play for, however much of a rivalry it is, or in this case isn't, or we should consider ourselves fortunate that we get to see Tom Brady play. When the really, really, when the all-time greats, right, play, and that's true of every era. There are always all-time greats in every era. But, this guy's the best ever, and we got to see pretty much every second of his career.
I mean, he's even better than Chad Henning.
Yeah.
Yes, and Chad Pennington.
And Chad Pennington.
And Chad Hennington.
And Chad Penny.
Hennington.
And Penny Sewell.
So that's how I
Eli
look
Penny.
at it. We get to witness the greatest football player ever, and that's something that even I can enjoy a little bit, especially at least now.
Yeah.
Not my favorite team's
I'm a
rival.
Knicks fan, but it's not. I'm glad I got to see Michael Jordan destroy them in my lifetime. I mean, it would have been nice for at least as a Giants fan, I got to see the Giants beat them.
Beat the greatest quarterback and the greatest football, and probably the greatest, obviously, regular season football team once, and then obviously beat them again too. So,
which is just bizarre. But.
Yeah, a little bit. So there you go.
What are you going to do, Tom Brady?
Number 1 on our list tonight.
Number 1
top
in Pete's
10
heart.
New England Patriots of all time, Mr. Tom Brady. There you go.
Listen, if I can't have Chad Pennington, I'll take Tom
Right.
Brady.
I mean, I feel like the thing with Brady now is that, like, if you're still hating on Brady, you're just a dick.
Yeah,
Because, like, especially as a guy who's older than Brady, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. I hope he keeps winning at least 50. You know.
Right.
I mean, it's not the fact that we're just seeing him win at such a high level. It's the fact that we're seeing him have success in maybe some of his best seasons after playing 20 years for the Patriots. It's just unbelievable.
Well, and also I think by this point we should all realize that he's also like a really good guy.
Yeah.
There's not like you could say earlier there were questions about, well, how much of it is an act and he has to protect his image and all that. No, he seems like just like every indication points to him being a really, really good person who just also happens to be the best football player in the history of the game. So, if you can find it in your heart to hate him after all that, I don't know.
People do, but that's all right.
You channel that energy into something else.
There you go. Right. All right. Well, that brings us to this week's Old Balls.
Old balls.
Harry, tell us who this week's Old Balls recipient is.
This week's Old Balls recipient is none other than Mr. Gino Cappelletti. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Gino Cappelletti, also known as the Duke or Mr. Patriot. I picked Gino because, well, I don't think there's anybody who's had a stranger career in football. All right, he was born in a small town in Minnesota, played at the University of Minnesota, where he was a quarterback, backing up All-American Paul Giel. He kicked extra points and did not kick his first field goal until the coach allowed him to try a 43-yarder that wound up winning the game against Iowa. All right, he switched in 54. He switched to quarterback and led Minnesota to a 7-2 record, missing the last game with an elbow injury. He was named to the All Big Ten second team, but was not selected in the NFL draft in 1955. So what does one do when they're not drafted? They go and play Ontario rugby football in Canada for the Sarnia Imperials, the Toronto Balmy Beach. Then you get drafted to the U.S. Army mid-season, return to Canada in 1958, play for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers of the CFL. Now we're at least playing football. And was traded to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, was later cut and went back to the rugby league, leading the Sarnia Golden Bears to a league championship. Okay. Then Cappelletti was out of pro football in 1955. And with the launch of the American Football League in 1960, he joined the Boston Patriots.
Not the New England Patriots.
Initially as
Boston
a
Patriots.
Kicker and a defensive back. He switched to offense late in that season and teamed up with quarterback Babe Prebill to form a tandem nicknamed the Grand Opera Twins due to their Italian surname. So they really was two quarterbacks in the backfield. It was something we were joking. I mean, this is just bizarre. Okay. Cappelletti won after not playing football for many years. Okay. Cappelletti won the AFL football, won AFL MVP honors in 1964, led the league in scoring 5 times and was a 5-time AFL All-Star. He holds the professional football record for points over a 6-year period at 9.5 per game and over an 11-year period of 7.5, and a percentage of his team's total points over an 8-year period. He scored 34% of his team's points. He was one of only 20 AFL players active during the entirety of the league's 10-year existence. Yeah. And, he just went on to play, it seemed like forever, for the AFL, for the New England. He was a 5-time All-Star in 1961 and then 63 through 66. He was a 4-time second-team All-AFL. Is it in the New England Patriots Hall of Fame, and his New England Patriots number 20 is retired. So Mr. Patriot, Mr. Gino Cappelletti, somebody who didn't play football for 5 years and wound up becoming one of the best Boston Patriots, maybe the best Boston Patriot of all time.
There you go.
He was also the color commentator for the Patriots on the radio from 1988 to 1990. So,
Gino Cappelletti, this week's Old balls.
Old balls.
There you go. All right. Good job there, Harry. Good job. All right. I don't think we have any other football to talk about, do we?
I got anything else to talk about.
I got one quick scheduling thing.
Okay, let's hear it.
So we've talked about some,
scheduling abnormalities with
scheduling
RadioPete.
abnormalities. I think we talked about the Eagles and
right. They don't have any. They don't have any more games for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
right.
They have the easiest strength of schedule anyway. So this one falls under the heading in the article here of Thirsty Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday.
Through the first 13 weeks of the season, the Dallas Cowboys playing 3 Thursday games. And that is tied for the most any team has played in a season since 2000.
Now that is doing it in the first. Now that is on purpose.
Yeah, that is definitely on purpose.
Yeah, I would say so.
So there you go.
There you go. Cool. And it just dawned on me. We did that whole football section without me actually changing the background. Only because I was going to change it to this too. Any basketball want to talk about? Or since it's so early in the season, we really don't need to.
Yeah. Chicago's 4-0.
Knicks are in second place in the East.
Tomorrow's going to be a good game. They did the NBA national game is changed to the Knicks and Bulls tomorrow. So Kemba Walker decided to finally show up as a Knick, and the Knicks had balanced scoring and pretty good defense against a pretty good Sixers team. I'm going to take it. A win's a win. I thought I was going to lose my mind last night, but it sounds like Nikola Jokic is going to be okay.
Yeah.
I saw him went down. I was like, oh, fuck. But look, Utah's looking good. I think the Lakers are old and already hurt.
Right. I said it. I said it when we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
They lost to Oklahoma City tonight, by the way.
Yeah, they did.
Look out now, but the Minnesota Timberwolves are 3-1. They beat Milwaukee tonight. And I think Oklahoma City is 2-2. Oh, they're 1-4. They won their first game tonight.
1-4. Yeah.
So, but it's been a weird start to the season. But and by the way, the Utah Jazz are right where we thought they were going to be.
And I got to tell you too, if and I'm going to make sure I do this. If the Knicks do beat the Bulls tomorrow night, all right, I'm taking a picture of the standings because it's going to be the first time in a very long time that the Knicks are actually in first place, albeit for a day or two, but
right,
or who knows, maybe longer. But there you go.
Listen, I'll say two things. Number one, I think we need to stop being surprised when the Knicks win games.
I believe
they're a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They had a hell of a season last year.
But the difference last year is they didn't beat the teams that we did not expect them to beat. They did beat the teams they should have beat.
Yes,
but very rarely did they beat the teams that we thought, there's no, So this, beating the Sixers, and then if they go in and beat Chicago in Chicago, I'm going to say, hey, look, they're improved. I think they are improved.
Yeah, I think, and look, talk about Kemba Walker and say what you want about him. I think he shot 5 for 11 last night. I think I heard from the 3-point land.
Yeah.
When he doesn't have to be the guy, that's the situation I think you want him in.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't put the pressure on him. He doesn't have to make his own shot, and just let him play and be Kemba Walker. This is still what's his name's team.
And Evan Fournier is making Julius Randle's life a lot easier. And I'll tell you what, there's 2 guys that are going to dictate the Knicks season. That's Fournier and RJ Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
As they go, the Knicks are going to go, and they both need to have standout seasons for the Knicks to have a chance in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this has to be kind of a bust out year for Barrett, or at least show some significant improvement. But this is a Knicks team I think that can play with anybody. And
Fournier was a good pickup because he's taking pressure off everybody.
They should be better. And I'll say this about the Nets: we probably need to get a Steve Nash watch going. I know they don't have Kyrie and blah blah blah, but you got to figure it out.
They should be better than this without.
I know it's early in the season. Yeah, you should be better with Durant and Harden and Joe Harris, and
they'll figure it out.
The squad. Well, I don't know. Will they? And what constitutes figuring it out? Because if you're not at least getting to the finals, that's Nets, not figuring out.
The Nets are still the favorite to make it to the finals.
Yeah, they were the favorite.
I mean, I still think the Bucks have a better shot. Yeah, I still think the Bucks are a better team just because they have the history of playing together and they seem to be a little bit more resilient. injury-wise. But if the Nets are healthy, even without Kyrie, they should. You have to remember, last year they were one toenail away from going to the finals, even with James Harden being injured for most of that playoff series. And in fact, I would argue that James Harden's presence in those last couple games hurt the Nets.
Yeah, but now they've only got
basketball shape.
But now they've only got 2 out of the big 3.
They only ever had 2 out of the big 3. The big 3.
But they play like 5 games total with the 3 of them
last year or something like that. So
yeah.
And I think
but they also, when one went down, another one seemed to be coming back. Now, if one of those 2 guys goes down, this is a very, very different team.
I hear you.
They've got to be better this year.
And look, the Knicks are going to be better. Miami's going to be way better.
Miami's going to be better. That's the team that worries me.
Miami just beat the shit out of who'd they beat tonight? Brooklyn.
Yeah, they beat the shit out of the Nets. That's what I'm saying. They should have been better out of the box. Last season should have been a motivation for them to come out and get after it. And so far they're not. It's still early. But if we don't,
we're 4 games into an 82-game season.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, by 10 games, if this Nets team isn't showing signs of being, something other than what they have been so far, then I think we have to, start talking about.
The Nets are old. I mean, that's the problem with the Nets. I also think that starting Blake Griffin, I think they need to bring him off the bench and start Aldridge.
That's what I mean. I don't know if Nash is the right guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's ever been the right guy, but
and Harden's off to a horrible start.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see how everything plans out. Again,
they're the Nets. I'm just picturing like 5 years of frustration and disgust, and then everyone goes, and then there's no one left on the team, and they're the laughing stock again.
Right. And hey,
but I'm a pessimist.
Exactly.
We'll
see. They're going to be better than they look right now. They're going to be.
Nothing I would want more than the Knicks to win a championship and have Kevin Durant watching it from Brooklyn.
Kevin Garnett could be watching it from Brooklyn too if you really want him to. But
Kevin Garnett's the kind of guy who would join the Knicks.
They might have a Nets reunion and they'll bring him.
Right, exactly.
They'll bring in the last time the Nets tried to build a super team. We know how that works.
With Garnett, exactly.
I think it's the Daily News is doing top 75 Knicks of all time. So we should talk about that next week.
Let's talk about that. Make a note of it. We'll talk about it next week. All right. Well, on that note, we'll wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of our shows are on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern Time. That's p.m. For those of you that just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. Plus, the show is now available on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Watch the NBA continuing to start up. Watch the World Series continuing to wind down. Actually, it's getting going right now. It's 1-1 going back to Atlanta. So keep an eye on that. And watch all football all weekend. And we will talk to you soon, folks. Have a good one. Cheers.
Ciao.
Bye.